Hey, Mayor, just fair, we're live, just fair warning. Make sure we got a good connection. Yeah, it's on.
Gotta change your spot to the sunglasses and the Is it gonna be? And then you gotta forget.
All right, Josie.
This is my.
6:30.
That
Get started. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and get started. If everybody can please stand. Go ahead and do the pledge of allegiance first. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you so much. Some good voices sounding from over there. Really appreciate it. All right. Okay, the first thing that we actually have on the agenda, council, is for us to go ahead and open it up. Do we have any visitors or citizens' comments? Anybody? Now we got some smiley faces ready to take some photos and stuff. So if we don't have anybody on that, let's go ahead and move on to the presentation of the proclamation of girls basketball team. So, Josie, help us out, and if we can get all basketball team coaches, Coach Mason, Coach Daly, come on up here. We're gonna hurry if we get
No.
No, I don't want
We just pull these out.
to.
Go ahead and get what given to the seniors, and then we're gonna hand these out.
Bro, I feel like I can't. You're all looking right now.
Grab one of these, start passing them, grab one, pass them down. Make sure you got everybody in there.
Everyone have them?
You got everybody, coaches?
Yeah, they go. Well, Mason and Tilly, you want?
We got a couple extras, so we'll come see here.
I'll put that one right in case, yeah.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and read the proclamation first, and then we got a few comments after that, so go ahead and do that. So Josie, if you can please help us out with that.
Alrighty. Whereas the city of Lytle, Texas is proud to honor the Lytle ISD Lady Pirates High School basketball team for their many accomplishments over the past season. And whereas the city of Lytle recognizes that the Lady Pirates are District 27 3A champions again this year after winning district in back-to-back seasons, and this being the first time this is being done in Lytle ISD's girls basketball program. And whereas the city has learned that this year's Lady Pirates basketball team also were by district champions, area champions, regional quarterfinal champions, regional semifinal champions, and UIL regional runner-up conference AAA team, and just one game away from the state tournament. And whereas the city council knows that the 2022 Lytle Lady Pirates were the first team in Lytle ISD's history to be crowned regional quarterfinal champions, regional semifinal champions, and UIL runner-up for conference AAA. And whereas the city council would like to congratulate the following members of this outstanding team: Haley Diaz, Felissa Severe, Katie Martinez, Ariana Garcia, Katara Whitfield, Nicole Godines, Amelia Martinez, Biz Hutton, Rose Catello, Sophia Hutton, Luna Reyes, and manager Lola Patino. And whereas the city council recognizes the coaches Lori Wilson and her assistant Tammy Tilley and Ivan Mason for the Lytle Lady Pirates for their involvement and accomplishments with this exceptional team. Now therefore, I, Ruben Gonzalez, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Lytle, Texas, in recognition thereof, do hereby proclaim that the city of Lytle, Texas feels this proclamation is in order to recognize the many accomplishments of the Lytle ISD's 2022 Lady Pirates High School basketball team. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and seal of the city of Lytle, Texas, this 25th day of April 2022.
Yeah. First and foremost, before we do this, I do want to take the time and be able to thank those that actually played a key part, and those are the parents. Thank you for everything that you've done in the sense of supporting them, supporting the team. I know there's been a lot of times of you managing your schedule to be able to take care of them. Those early mornings, right? Getting up early. You see Mama over here nodding her head. Yeah. So those are the things and the sacrifices. But without a doubt, unless you're supporting a moment, we wouldn't have gotten. Our actual coaches, you guys are superstars. You actually take the time to not only developing them as great basketball players, but also being great young adults and making a difference and making sure that they're true ambassadors for our community. And I know I saw some of you out there on the basketball court. And I was wondering, okay, how are they doing? Sometimes a little bit of that frustration, right? Yeah, especially with those big, tall girls, right? And I know, but you guys just ran around them and just took care of business and made a difference without a doubt. You guys have actually taken it to the next level without any reason, I mean, in a sense of what you did. You know, Divine News pretty straightforward. He said, our Lady Lytle Pirates went further into the playoffs than ever before in a historic playoff run. You guys took it to the next step. Now, look, you see this bumps? I can only see what's going to happen in the future. But I can't say enough on behalf of the whole council to our seniors. You guys were the leaders. You guys were the ones who stepped up and helped them out. You did. You really did. You really did. I mean, you took some good shots. There's some good pals, I will admit. But you guys actually took the time to be able to not only take care of the team, but also help everybody else get prepared for the next level. So we really, really appreciate what you made a difference. Continue to do that as you continue with your education, whatever your next prospect is. But you guys have left the mark that others are going to follow. So thank you for what you have done. So with that in mind, actually, before we take a photo, coaches, anything that you'd like to go ahead and share?
Well, I know not just, I speak for everybody here as we want to thank you and Lido PD for all the, when we would come back into town, the police escorts, like, it seems like it's not a big deal, but like those little things are what really mean a lot to them and built their confidence and made them feel so important about themselves and that people really were backing them. And you didn't have to do that at 10:30 at night, so we really do appreciate all that from you and your support.
No, thank you so much. Okay, council, if you can please stand and kind of be seen. We have an advantage, it's a little bit higher, so you can go ahead and get up there. I'll stand right in here, and we'll take some photos. And parents, if you guys want to come in over here, you're more than welcome to. You can come on in and take a photo from the center. It's no problem whatsoever. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and look that way real quick. Oh, you got them there? Okay, here we go. Nice smiles.
One, two.
There you go. Okay, you got everybody?
Yep.
All right, congrats again. Okay, we'll see you out at the court. I'll be good. Look forward to next year.
Thank you so much.
Great job. Great job. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and move on the agenda. The next, we have the action items. Going to debate, consider and act upon the proposal from TRC for Phase 6 Saddle Ridge preliminary plat review and engineering services. Josie?
Okay, in front of you, you have a proposal from TRC for Phase 6 of Saddle Ridge, the preliminary plat, civil construction plans, review, and engineering services, and it's for $6,096. Again, they'll pay this at the, before we sign the plat. When it's finalized.
Mayor, I move that we accept the proposal from TRC to provide engineering services in amount not to exceed $6,096 for Saddle Ridge Phase 6 preliminary plat.
Okay, thank you. Motion? Second. Okay, got a second? Any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. B, consider and act upon a proposal from TRC for C-Store final plat review and engineering services.
Council, in your packet under 5A, you have a proposal from PRC for the final plat and construction plan review and engineering services for the Lido C-Store for the, in the amount of $3,012.
I move that we accept this as printed.
Okay, second. Got a second? Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Get that? Okay, C. Nice, Christopher. Oh, there he is. Okay. So C, consider and act upon the request from Christopher Bowen for city to pay for his expenses to KTD seminar in June. Come on then.
Thank you all for taking the time to consider this. This is just a little package. There has a lot of info, but only just a little bit there about the conference, and then I have one, and I can just go over it real quick.
Awesome.
So this conference is coming up in June. It's, of course, it's affiliated with the Keep Texas Beautiful, which Lidle has been a part of for several years, but as far as I know, no one from Lidle has ever attended this conference. Now, we know, of course, with the pandemic, everything happened, it affected the beautification process and our meetings and everything, so we weren't able to do as much as we'd like to have done during that time, but really no community, I don't think, was anywhere in the state. So this is the first year they're doing it since 2019, I believe, in Austin in person. They've been doing the virtual one. But after I found out about it and I looked into it, I thought it was something that would be great to take part in. And we underlined a few things. So there's a lot of different things to look at there, but again, I don't have a lot of time, so I'll just make it quick. The conference takes place over about, really it's 2 days. Tuesday and Wednesday are the main days, but Monday is kind of a registration day and just a day when you get there. And there's a few things you can do on that day if you'd like to. But I would probably just try to go and attend I'll go up on a Monday, come back Wednesday. It would be a 2-night stay. The hotel, the interesting thing about the hotel is that, I'll get back to the conference, but just to kind of go over an overview of it, the conference is actually held at this hotel, so it's really simplistic to stay at that hotel. You're able just to go to the conference room, where it's all held. But again, this conference is all about, all of the affiliates of Keep Texas Beautiful can come and attend it. There's a lot of great networking, I'm sure, that can take place there. You can meet with a lot of people that have services in this area. Their main 3 areas of concern are litter prevention, waste reduction, and beautification. And I think those are all 3 things that would benefit Lidle if we take the time to invest in them and learn about it. And I mean, anybody from our committee, the Keep Lidle Beautiful Committee, could attend it. I know everybody has different schedules and they're busy. I'm willing to go and go on behalf of the Lidle committee and of course, meet with some people, talk with them about what we're trying to do here, try to move Lidle forward, and make sure that we have what we need going forward to do what we've been doing, but even do more, which is what I think we want to be about. Not that we haven't been doing enough, but it's just that we can always do a little bit more, whether that's with different projects. Of course, we have all the growth coming. Lidle's going to be looked upon by different businesses, different people wanting to see if they want to move here. And I think if Lidle is kept, as beautiful as possible and clean, and we put nature and beautification first, I think it will benefit the Lidle. I know. So if we're looking at just to give you some real quick details, and then of course, if you have any questions, I'll try to answer my best of my ability. The conference, to go for the 2 days, it's in there highlighted, it would be about $425. I included a add-on of $5 for the Monday, which one of these events that I might try to attend is only $5, so I just put it as $430. And then for the hotel, to include that, the hotel would be $380.57 for 2 nights. So if you just calculated those 2, it's $813.57. Now, that's not including anything else, but I'm willing to pay for gas or things like that if need be to do it, if y'all be willing to pay for this. It's up to the council. I just wanted to present what it's about. But if anybody has questions or anything, I know I talked to Mr. Emery about it, because he's our liaison to Keep Lidle Beautiful Committee from the council, and we discussed it at our last meeting, and the board was in favor of me attending it. But of course, it all comes down to the council and what y'all's decision is.
So, Chris, you gonna stay on the committee for quite some time?
That's my plan.
Good.
Okay. I enjoy it.
I go ahead at this time and make a motion that we go ahead and agree to pay that expense.
You said the total would be 8.
The total would be 8. So check.
$850.
Yes, $813.57. And also, I would just maybe after, if we're going to get approved, I would maybe just work with Mrs. Compa about getting the finalized, actually getting it, paid for through either the credit card or whatever, we would make that work. But because I'm sure it'd be best to go ahead and get the reservation soon for like the hotel, because I mean everybody will be staying there that is attending it, and they might get full up, I'm not sure, but I'll work
Hopefully
with.
they're not full
Yeah,
full up already.
I checked last week, they weren't off, but
Okay, good.
So I have a motion for us to go ahead and approve this for 815.
I'd second that and ask if, Jerry, you could amend it to allow for mileage up and back.
Well, I could certainly do that.
How about
I'll
meals?
certainly do that.
Right.
Not bad.
And a per diem.
some meals are provided within the conference, but of course, there might be one or two that.
I prefer we not make a solid dollar figure right now, but something not to exceed maybe $950. And
I would say 1,000,
Yeah.
just.
But, yeah, that sounds good. So if you amend that, I'll
Just
second
1,000.
I'll second that.
Okay. Discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to add a little bit to that, if you don't mind. We are a part of Texas, Keep Texas Beautiful, as the Keep Vital Beautiful. There are requirements, though, from the state that we have to meet to keep our status as Keep Texas Beautiful members. One, of course, is to pay the dues, and we do that every year. The other is to do projects, to send representatives to meetings such as this, either in person or virtual meetings. And as Chris mentioned, we haven't done that. So they've been very kind to us to let us keep our status as a Keep Texas Beautiful city. But it's time now with COVID winding down, with people who are willing, as Chris is, to do this, that we support this without a doubt. And Chris is very active. He was out all weekend with us, all day Saturday with us in the trash collection. Some of the other people on the committee, because of their jobs or other family commitments, just cannot participate as much as Chris can, and we appreciate that, Chris. So I wholeheartedly support Keep Texas and Vital Beautiful, and I support Chris's attendance at this.
Thank you. And just to go off what Mr. Emery said, there's like, they try to have training hours per year, and this conference would cover all of that, would be a part for our committee. So it's a wide encompassing, it would not just apply, of course, to one individual, it applies to the whole committee, so for Lidle, and it would go a long way to show them that we're serious about being a part of their group, which is it's a good group. Yeah. So I thank y'all for your time.
Any other comments? Anything else? All those in favor? Any opposed?
Thank y'all very much.
Chris, just to let you know, on another note, similar, so met somebody this weekend that are associated with Tech Stop. They have a big burden also. So I need to connect you to Denise, and because she's excited to be able to help out with that. And that's when it's a little group, and they got the person, the mascot,
Yeah.
they get all dressed up and everything, so, and it's part of the organization within the state, so.
Okay, well, that's all.
Awesome, thanks,
Thank you all
Chris,
for your time.
appreciate it, thank you for everything.
Yes, sir. You're welcome.
All right, thanks, Councilman. Okay, D, consider an act upon hiring new city hall office employee, Josie.
Okay, we went through the application procedure, had 8 applicants. We interviewed 2 of them, Paul and I both did. And one of them just excelled, and we've had her working part-time with us the last week. And I'd like to recommend that council hire her. Her name is Liza Mala. And some of y'all may know her. She worked at True Value. And she's very experienced when it comes to cashiering. So I'd like the council to start her at $15.50 an hour.
I move that we hire one.
Okay, a motion. Second. Okay, further discussion? That's Josie, 15.50, and then when she gets done with probation,
Another $1.
another $1.
I met her and talked to her a couple times, very pleasant.
Very
Big smile
pleasant.
on her face, it seemed like she's really happy to be here, lives close by, so it looks like it's the best of everything.
Paul and I were very impressed with her. It's like we almost jumped for joy.
Good move, good move.
Awesome. All right. Council, all those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you so much. All right. Okay, E, consider an act upon employment status of Laura Rodriguez. So Josie, on that one,
Well, I
we can
understand.
add,
Yeah.
we can add we received, the council actually received an email where she was actually resigning, asking us for the rights. I did not reply on behalf. I talked to Josie this afternoon. Tom wanted to ask if we needed to go ahead and do formally, go ahead and reply back to that email.
I think there's a council in open session, you need to just accept the resignation.
So, council,
I move that we accept the resignation.
yes, second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So Tom, you just need me to email her on behalf of the city, or is that something?
I think that that would probably be Josie's.
I don't have her email address and she sent it to the council.
If you get the email address, one of them can forward it to you.
Okay. They'll forward me her email. I will.
All right. F, consider an act upon a city administrator's salary and start date on that. So we had an open item from the last time. We actually have a few things to go ahead and discuss. For us to go ahead and discuss. Tom, you're actually working on the ordinance and working on the job description.
That's correct.
Okay. Is it possible we can have that by Friday before the meeting on the?
Sure.
Okay. Before the 9th, right? The 9th, so that's Friday before that.
That's 6.
The 6th. That would be great. And that way Josie can go ahead and forward it out with the email. They would take care of that. So tonight, what we're going to take a look at, council, is the salary and the start date. The salary, this is based on the discussions and based on the amount that we have. This is the gross pay portion of it and how much per pay period. It ends up being 40,000 for the 6 months on there. We had put 55K off to the side to be able to take care of this. And Matt, just to make sure in a sense of the salary that we're looking at within the gross pay that we talked about, you're good with that?
Yes, sir. I think that'd be a good way to start out. Go through the probationary period and then see where we go after that.
Okay. And then with the start date that you were requesting?
The current schedule we're in at the PD goes through May 18th, so May 19th. That'd be a Thursday.
Council, those are the two informations that we actually have on that.
I move that we accept the pay for the city administrator as outlined in the paper that we have.
That motion on the floor.
I'll second.
Okay, got a second? Let's go ahead and do this. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Appreciate that. All right, Matt,
Thank you.
so you ready for us to go ahead and take care of that portion of it? All right. G, police chief's evaluation. This is the portion that, when we had our workshop, we did it on the executive session. So, we need to go ahead and provide feedback back to him the same way that we did with the other department heads. I think we are gonna meet, Josie, I guess we can meet in the kitchen area, right?
Yes.
That would be the place, and it won't take us that long. So Josie, if we can go ahead and show according to Texas Government Code 551.0074, for us to go ahead and go, and it's 6 6:57.
Man,
Yes.
Richie gets a choice, open or close.
Got it. Thank you. Richie?
I'll go ahead and go closed, just for y'all's benefit, not mine.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Okay. So it's still 6:57, so council, if we can go ahead and go to the kitchen area, we'll take care of this.
If we weren't on YouTube, I'd go open. But I don't want to go viral.
Viral.
I wish. You sit back here. I'm gonna take it.
Yes, sir.
All right, Joseph,
Hey, you're on
actually show us back.
I tried.
7:07,
I'm pretty sure I hit the button.
no action.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and move on to our next item, which is H, consider and act upon accepting evaluations for department heads. Council, the evaluations are the same as we discussed. There's no changes on there. We just need to be able to accept them based on how they were prepared.
I move to act upon accepting the evaluation for department head. Accept that.
Thank you.
Motion.
I'll second that.
Second, any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right. I consider an act upon providing names for streets in Lytle Farm subdivision. How you doing, sir?
Council.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Got a list of all those street names.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And out of all these names that you have, sir, how many are you gonna select out of this? You know, because I know normally you produce a longer list, right? Than
Yes,
normally.
it's 20 plus.
Yeah.
So of this, we have enough names here to provide all the streets in our, and then master development plan for Lytle Farms.
Okay.
So we also sent this list to Bear Metro. So they also reviewed this street names. So first this list approved, I looked at by council.
And you guys also check with the post office, right?
Yes, they're Metro. So.
Make sure it goes through the different folks.
Is this all the streets you're gonna have, on that list? Or are you gonna pick names?
We're gonna pick from this list. So we have more streets in this list than we know.
Did you have a theme when you came up with the names? I'm trying to see a theme. here.
I
don't
did
see
not know, but one that really threw me was Snowflake Way.
it.
Okay, well, especially, you walk out the door and you're sweating and. Only there were a few snowflakes. But, yeah, to answer your question, I don't see a theme either.
Council, one of the other discussions that we had in the past is whether or not we would have opportunities to recognize other individuals, whether or not we want to include them on there. So I'm just throwing it out there for your consideration if there's anybody else that you would like to go ahead and.
Would your organization be open to us offering a few names?
I would suspect they wouldn't mind at all if we added some names to this list. So I can't talk for him, but
Sure.
I can certainly run past him, but I would imagine if we had a problem.
If we approve this tonight, could we then come up with some list and send it on?
Yeah, that'd be fine. I can forward it of additional names to him and then ask those names to this list. To say, I can't say, I can't say yes, but I can certainly propose.
Do you have any in mind? or-
No. I just didn't want to lock this in tonight, lock us out.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I think, Josie, with the email, they were requesting the information as soon as possible, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So we probably need to provide a little bit of feedback if we're thinking about including some names in there. Take into consideration.
So I'm asking, are this all the streets right here that you're gonna have, or are you gonna have more streets?
No, there are fewer streets that
Oh,
are
fewer
street
streets,
names, yes. Yes, so we have more streets to pull from.
So if we suggest 4 or 5 names, they would have to drop 4 or 5 off their list to add ours in there.
Right.
So, I know, on the past meeting that we actually had, whether or not we want to consider Smith.
How many names would be a maximum? If we approve this tonight, could we have, say we want to add like 4 names to the list on our motion tonight, maybe?
I don't think that we have to take 4 names out of here and put 4 names in. I think that we can grow the list.
Right, that's what I'm,
Yeah.
because we can't choose the streets. We can just add the name.
That's correct.
So,
Still be up to them.
I will go ahead and make a motion that we go ahead and approve these streets with the addition that the council could put 4 more names on there to be chosen from. Yeah, that you could consider.
Mike, okay, so we have a motion? Okay, so a second. I think the only thing to take into consideration is we probably we need to turn this around really quick. You know, probably be in our next meeting, on the 9th, we definitely would need to have something for them, so.
Because it'd be a one for the start, right?
Yeah, but they start laying out the maps for the streets. Yeah, so, and that's one of the reasons why they wanted the information.
Maybe consider that for future, subdivisions.
And just letting the council know, I mean, an opportunity is an opportunity, so if you have somebody in mind, you know, this might be the time to go ahead and do that. So,
What's the deadline for these street names?
Graham and Andy wanted them as soon as possible, because he said it would take 6 to 8 weeks on the approvals, and that's going to put Andy's timeline in jeopardy. So he wanted it ASAP. So I'm assuming like this week is the way that I took it. Because he has to get the approvals through TxDOT and through Fairmet, yeah, that's it.
So have a timeline like by Thursday, to come up with something, or?
I have a question. Why is Fairmet involved in this?
They're metro.
Why are they involved in this? This is Madison County.
I understand, but they're kind of a more regional branch out beyond their county. That's my understanding.
I've never remember seeing them
Fairmet
involved.
is a water company, right?
No, Fairmet is, there's a water company.
Air Metro 911,
We're
911.
talking about, I'm sure, but we would still probably have to reach out to Atascosa County 911 addressing to make sure none of these conflict with any other streets within Atascosa County.
So, if the possible 4 names are up to 4 names, say by Thursday, with that. Whoever.
Well, the only thing is that we would need to collect the names, you know, we can submit some suggested names for Josie, for her to actually respond and forward those names. But we wouldn't have a chance to be able to agree on them between now and then.
I think we should leave it like this.
Leave it like this.
Well, and we have another whole development.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Plenty of time.
We discussed.
This is Vital Farms, this is,
The other one is,
Rosewood is already,
oh, they were having.
yes, sir.
Oh,
This is the last. They pretty much already have on the plans. So
Right, this is just for phase one though, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
This
so
is
we
for
still have
one.
phase two, 3, and 4 in Whitehall that we're gonna have to be named too. Keep that in mind.
Well, I thought this was for the entire,
Yeah, not
It was
everyone.
for the states, it's for the MVP, but I'm sure that we can add names
As we go into the next phase,
Oh,
is the way that they explained it to me.
And I will rephrase my motion to just accept these things for tonight.
I'll give my motion.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you, council. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And please check with that valid point with that Escosa.
Yes.
911.
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay, that's great. All right, Jay, considering that upon donating City Hall transmission power to Kenny County Sheriff's Department.
We had talked about the radio tower that was right behind the building here before, and we all agreed that we don't need it in the city. If police department still nod their head that we do not need it in the city. We agreed that if somebody wanted to come and take it down, they could have it. Well, I did reach out to some people, and I heard back from Sandra Whitten, who's running for U.S. House of Representatives over in Laredo. She lives in Laredo, and she put me on to Sheriff Brad Coe and his point of contact, Walter West. They need to erect a tower with some cameras and a repeater for the police and the border patrol in their area. And this is exactly the type of thing they want. They've indicated that they want it and that they will try to get it sometime in the month of May. They're going to come over and take it apart in two pieces with a crane and then lay down the bottom part. It's on a hinge plate, and then they'll haul it out of here. So they'll do all the work to take it down and take it out of here. They know that we have to disconnect some electric wires that run across it, but talk to the mayor and we can just put a work order in and get that done before they come over. They'll give us a heads up as long as they can, a week or more, before they're gonna come over. So I move that we give this to Sheriff Brad Coe and his point of contact, Walter West, for the Transitional Trafficking Task Force.
Okay.
And because it's government, I believe we don't need to do the dollar.
So I got a motion.
So we don't, since it's done,
I'll chime in on the discussion.
yeah, yeah. I'll second that in.
Okay, have a second. Okay, now we're in discussion.
I think that as long as the council finds that it's a public purpose, it's going to satisfy a public purpose. It's my understanding that it's going to cost us to take it down.
Oh,
So
sure.
we're going to save money. And in that regard, we're going to have a public purpose. We're going to save money on that. So I don't have a problem with that.
I talked to Mr. Brown, Ronnie Brown, about moving the electric. He said he's at least bare minimum 2 weeks out onto an eighth. I know the city's needing, I saw an email about some electric over at the EMS building, so maybe we can do a one-stop shop and just re-angle stuff over. I don't know how to talk to Ronnie, but I'm waiting to hear back from him.
Yeah, so it's a valid point. So this, when we were doing the dumpster, we were playing with the circuit boxes in there to see if we could see. And we noticed that none of those actually control the lights that go to the parking area, so that area. So it's on a separate circuit, so we would definitely, because you said, well, maybe we can cut, kind of get an idea of what areas are gonna get affected. So I think council, if we're gonna go ahead and move this point, I think we also, let's just go ahead and get Ronnie to come over and disconnect, because we don't know when they're gonna show up.
Sure.
So we might as well ask him to go ahead and do that.
I said he's bare minimum 2 weeks out to even.
On a
Get over
personal
it.
note, I won't be here the whole month of June. So if it runs into June before they get here, I won't be able to do any coordinating. So
I could help coordinate on
sooner
that.
the better to get the electricity off, so they can just come over with their crane and flatbed.
And James and Josie, we don't have any reason that we need that electrical along this they disconnect until Christmas, right? That's when we have those.
Yeah. Christmas.
So we can actually do the disconnect, so we can take the tower, and once all of that is cleared, then Ronnie, we can ask him later in the year for him to come back and then rerun based on everything being removed. So we can do it in a two-way. If the council agrees with that. So, good with that? You want to include in the motion for us to go ahead and approve Ronnie Brown?
Sure, I include that. We give the tower and have Ronnie Brown finish up.
Any part of the motion, Tom? And Ron?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
And
I'll make one second.
thank you, appreciate that. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thanks, appreciate it. And, thank you for finding a good place for it to be able to use too. Okay, K, consider and act upon the resolution to text dot for reconfiguring intersection of North Prairie Street and Lake Street and FM 2790. Tom?
It's just a resolution, Mayor, as requested, asking TxDOT to reconfigure that intersection based upon the diagram that they have provided for us, attached to Exhibit A in the resolution.
Awesome.
Make a motion to set the resolution.
Now, motion on the floor?
Second.
Second, okay. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay, Cal, update on coal mine emergency exit.
You got that, Tom?
Yeah, I've got that. We can go in, we can go in, excuse me, closed session if you want to, Mayor, to discuss this, or, you know, in general terms, I can talk about it.
Okay. Council, would you want general terms, or would you like to?
General fund, yeah, I think that's maybe what he's trying to do.
Okay, the real property we were talking about was sold. So, we're gonna have to, excuse me, we're gonna have to wait and let the dust settle, before we can talk to the new owners. Because it's just a matter of weeks that it's been done. When the council, made their decision, contacted the broker, and there's no contact.
Okay. Okay, so we're back to.
We're just gonna be dealing with, different owners. That's all.
Let's try and take care of this. Been open for a while, right?
Yeah, it's been open for many years, but.
Been
So it's our
30 years.
Eventually, I think we'll get it done.
I think so too.
Yeah, we need to get it done. We definitely need to get it done. And council, any questions on this or any comments? Appreciate it. Okay, M, mid-year budget review.
So this is just not budget, this has to do with probably the next 4 items. Just a little piece of this. You can have this one, but let me make it. So, budget reports, if you look at the first page, and I separated it out by color, so don't go past the blue for right now. So it's, you see your current budget broken down by fund. And then you see exactly where you're at on your variances, on where you are from where you are. So currently, our revenues are, out of the $3 million budget, we're at 2.14. In the 100. Can I just loop the next one together as I go through so I can explain? So there's another line item in there that we're talking about on the, where we have capital budget in here and we have, interfund transfers in here, which really kind of make the budget a little bit hard to understand because it makes it look like we're moving more money than what we really have. So when you see all my highlights in here, they could, I wish I had a printer that did colors, but what we have in here is we have capital in here, then we have interfund transfers in here. One of the things that I was hoping that would be done by the audit by now, but she's not, is to be able to explain how we can't do inter-fund transfers the way that we're doing it, because it looks like we're overstating our budget. So we have to be careful with that, which I understand what she needs, and we're not gonna do that this year. But, that's why if you look at any of the adjusting entries for the last, all the way back to 2014, they adjust those entries out. Because we can't have it show up because it makes the balance report look really, really bad. So I broke it up by fund. If you can go fund by fund, you can see what our revenues are, less the transfers. So if you go to the very last page, like flip around where you come to the recap, because this is 11 here. That's where we currently sit. Less transfers, and the transfers are at the bottom. So you see, compared on the budget where we're coming in, if you see that left-hand side, where our revenues on the consolidated P&L is literally at a negative. So our true budget is negative $800,000, not including transfers. Once you do all the transfers in and out, you can have, and if you look at the bottom, like on the 800, we have a negative transfer in, we have $770,000 transfer out. It goes in and out, and altogether $365,000 worth of transfers that are really coming from our bank fund. Because overall, our budget is $813 negative.
So in plain English, are we in trouble?
We could be. Eventually, so I've been beating my head up on this for weeks. Currently, as we stand, we are having to pay money out of our bank fund to fund this. That's where some of this money comes through. And I could break it out piece by piece for you through a fund of how it's been done in the last 3 years. The reason, okay, and here's the big deal. So you look at it and you say, well, the bank account's still making money. We're still increasing money. Why did that not happen? Why? Well, it was because we had all of these capital projects on the budget that were never completed. So we're printing out a budget, putting it online for people, saying that we're going to spend, for example, the printer is horrible for this. It's really dark. Like for the water, what was it, 800,000 that we didn't, we haven't capitalized any money to? So look at the 800 fund.
800 sewer.
Sewer fund. So, that's, like, we haven't taken any money to that. But if you look at the year prior, if you look at the very last sheet on the very end here, and this is one that I haven't, this is what it actually would look like if you look at it from the beginning. They're the very, very last page. That's your 2021 budget.
So you're behind on the very end.
On the very, very last one, look for the 2021 account summary, where it says budget report prior year with expenses.
So you telling me we can't move money forward from last year that we didn't use?
We can.
Because that's what we're doing, moving it forward.
You can move it forward but we still have to have a balanced budget. So we're still running money out of the fund to be able to operate. So we are operating negatively. Why do you shake your head?
I don't agree with that. We were in the negative last year.
Yes, we were. We've been in the negative the last 2 years. Mark and I and Andrew went through this piece.
Only when we transferred funds into the reserves.
No, but the reason that we were in negative is because there were capital projects on here that were never funded. So the only reason we keep putting money in the bank and keep being in the positive is because a bunch of these projects that are listed to be done never get done.
There weren't any projects in the sewer when we were moving money to the reserve fund.
What are you talking about reserve?
We had it in the budget to move money to the reserve fund for sewer. So.
I mean, we can still move money as we're supposed to.
That's, we
Through
did
there,
there,
but
but
I'm
we
looking,
didn't have any capital improvements in the sewer fund to put us in the negative.
okay, so let's not talk about
Okay, well,
sewer.
we'll discuss it later, because I don't have the numbers in front of me either. This is the first I've heard of it.
So like in the 700, look at the water. There was a $20,000 that was
Are you
never
looking
done.
at last year's? Okay, so last year's.
Mhm. If you look at the 800s, the transfers to the impact fee, we had 74,000, 24,000 in there, but none of it was ever expensed. So it made our numbers on the budget look different. There was nothing taken in there by the end of the year.
That money that we made on the sewer impact fees, whatever we collected for the year, went to the impact fee fund.
And I actually have that, what we have in there, but it was never, but on the budget, what is listed, which goes to the website, which our residents see, reflected that on there. So the way that you're tallying out on those impact fees are coming into a package, and the journal entry was not done on this end. What?
I thought you made that journal entry when you were reconciling.
Why would we make that journal entry? If it comes from a fund pack?
Well, if it comes
How would I
from
know?
the fund, well,
Yeah.
it
has
has
to
a
be
check
covered
there,
every
that
time.
there was a check there, and it got deposited into the impact fee fund.
Impact fee fund is balanced, and that means something else was done.
Did you say you actually had Andrew and then just look?
Andrew and Mark have been through this with me on 3 months.
So
They realize there's a problem.
two quick questions. Last year we did 2 audits,
Yes.
and this didn't come up.
With Deb,
It did come up?
No.
Okay.
Deb wasn't really able to get into the system like she was this time.
Okay.
Everything was digital when I brought it to her. There's a lot of stuff she wasn't able to see. So, I want her to be able to talk about what she saw from her side. I know that she did have a short conversation with Griffin. I don't know, he hasn't really shared with me what was said, but, I'm just waiting on her review.
All right, my second question, we've been talking about projects list where we might go out for
That's
obligations or
another,
whatever.
that's another part of this.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep going. So that's what Andrew and I started working on in much detail.
So Lynette, let's go ahead and take care, we'll go into the transaction, you can go back to the mid-year budget review.
Yeah, so let's go to mid-year. So mid-year, if we're looking at this, this is actual revenue and actual expense, okay? This has nothing to do with interfund transfers or anything like that. Has nothing to do with transfer anywhere. That's exactly where we stand. We're at -800.
So question on this, is there a difference between being a -800 between now and the end of the fiscal year? Or is that considering where we're supposed to be, because we still have the rest of the year?
Right, when we look at the rest of the year, when we still have stuff coming in, but we still have a whole lot of stuff going out. So we're not gonna see a bunch of changes. I mean, we're still, Andrew and I were talking about that on some of the impact fees and stuff that are gonna be coming in. It's not exactly where we can't really project this yet.
And we've got a lot of money still going out on the well,
So,
probably in the neighborhood of 400,000 from what we.
so, but just based upon the budget on the P&L, that's where you're standing, and me taking out any other fund transfers. So, and I'm 100 confident those numbers seem good.
Is there anything so going back to the budget review, is there anything that we need to worry about based on what the council had approved?
No, I mean, that's gonna, when we go over the cap budget, that's gonna be a little bit more. It kind of, if you look at it, you can kind of see everything that's been expensed or income, and kind of get an idea. So like if you look at the 100 account, you can see that your tax revenue, at the budget is 767,000. We've already, our income is 694, we got 72,000 more to go. That's just kind of. And the same thing with sales tax, because if you look at your fiscal activity current, that's what we have booked for the year. What's in the system. Like I said, I have it broken down for. But then, on that second page there, if you look at like the reserve for the Darius project, or the capital improvements for the city park, or the capital improvements for the streets, that is what? 210,000. We spent 516 on that. So if we were to work on those, which I have combined those into our cap budget of our current one, and I'm gonna show you in a minute, that would really cause a big negative in there. Because even if you look at the past budget and you look at the very last piece of the puzzle, your period activity is still at a negative. And that's what Deb and I were looking at, saying, why?
So again, does this bring our hopes of getting some bond money to Screeching Home?
Can I keep going? Like, can I move to the next one? Or-
Okay, well, any questions on the mid-year budget review? Anything that we have on that?
Can we fix where we are?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Granted, we really need to do what I call a correct budget. Like, we're talking income, expense, and then we take the means transfers later. If we don't take account into those transfers, that's a good term. But we can't, like one thing is, what's it? Available from prior years. Does anybody even know what that is?
Money that we're used the year before.
Right, so we carry over those, but we're carrying over an extra 30,000 into the budget. Did we have it in a negative budget prior year? That, I'm repeating that for us there. So how can we carry over a prior when we were negative? I hear you mumbling, but I can't.
I didn't think we were in the negative last year. I had to go back and look when you and I didn't get a chance to talk about all this, so it's news to me.
Okay, council, anything on the mid-year budget review? I just want to make sure. Okay, so I know you started talking about the other one, so, and update on financial transactions in between funds.
That's the interfund
Is
transaction.
there anything else that,
No, I would like to table that and let Deb really come in with the legal jargon behind that. How it looks and what the problem is there. Which hopefully she'll be here next council meeting.
any other questions on that, council? So, I know we have some future ones that are gonna tie into some of the project stuff, but let's go ahead and stick with the agenda. The next one that we have is consider an act upon creating a financial committee. So,
So due to all these things that we're seeing and we're really extrapolating all these numbers and stuff, I do really wanted to put together a financial committee with more than just myself that are looking at this, that somebody really can understand what they're seeing. And I had mentioned it to Ruben to see if that was possible. No, I mentioned it to Charles to see if that was possible.
so you're recommending having Charles on the committee, is that
It's whoever wants to be on it that cares.
council?
Seeing what we've heard, it sounds like we need a few more sets of eyes looking at it.
Absolutely.
Council, I'll make a recommendation for now for the committee for us to go ahead and have Charles, have David involved. And, for us to go ahead and once we have Matt involved, just include him also, once he comes on board.
So then I'll go ahead and make a motion to act upon creating the financial committee with Dave and Charles.
Just Charles, one of you have to be an early set.
I mean, whether he likes it or
Yeah.
not.
No, I-
Rolling cold, I guess,
Jerry,
right?
come on,
I don't
man.
want anybody.
I thought you were getting out of this business. Vote me in something. You know, my concern, of course, you know, Lynette and I talked a little bit about, the certificate of obligation and, of course, that's next couple items, I guess, it's gonna all tie into that, but my concern with getting a committee formed is slowing the process down, and making these decisions, you know, as a legislative body, I feel like the council, provided we have all the information, you know, we should be able to make an informed decision. So, I mean, that's my only concern about getting a committee formed up, is that it's gonna slow it down, because I think as we've seen the interest rates rise in the past couple of months, and the longer we wait, ultimately, the more money it's gonna cost us.
And I totally agree with that. And I brought that up to Mark about that, and he still stresses that under what we're seeing right now, to only live on what we currently need. But again, that's something that I wanted to have more eyes in, educated eyes in, to be able to talk about.
So you're looking at having this committee in between the meetings.
Well, I mean, I think everybody should meet once a month to really look at these financials.
And then as needed in between meetings.
I mean, have y'all ever had financials before? I mean, have y'all ever had anything to look at? Have y'all ever really looked at financials, other than what the auditor gives you? I mean, that is, you know, I think it's really important.
You know, I have no issue being on this, committee, provided that, it doesn't interfere with, you know, I don't want to kicking stuff over to the committee all the time, saying, hey.
No,
look at
that's
that. I mean, I want to be able to meet, whatever, we're gonna do that in between meetings, after meetings, and form a plan moving forward, because like I've said, you know, the longer we wait, the more money it's gonna cost ultimately everybody, all the taxpayers, everybody in the city. So, you know, that's my concern, but I would more than willing to be able to, help tackle this problem, you know, figuring out how we can take the best path moving forward, so.
Right.
Yeah. I'll do it.
I have a motion for David Charles. Do I have a second? Do I have a second? Discussion, I just asked if taken into consideration, once man comes on board, one about everyone. Second was Samson.
I would think that's kind of a default, in my opinion, as a city administrator, it's kind of a default.
So this is in consideration.
Assume that Lynette. Good idea. I was going to suggest the same thing with that. As soon as she's on board, it's been proven.
In the motion
Yeah, as soon as
to,
it's on board.
within the committee.
Okay, I got that. Sam, you want to amend your motion? Okay, got it amended. Okay. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, Pete, update of the city staff on 2021 audit. Charles, you have requested this?
I just think,
I kind of covered them, so.
it's, you know, something that we need to be on top of, because I think in the past, we, probably not stay on top of it, I'm sure. So, I mean, I'm not bringing it up, I'm just curious, because, you know, you and I talked, but everybody else, I think, would benefit from.
So the reason that we're behind, which we finally found out, is one of the lead auditors that was here, Jacob, his grandmother died. And I guess that put them behind because there was only so many, we only had 3 out here. Another part was, is we had 1,721 corrected journal entries that I had to do before the audit to make the balance sheet correct. And they had to review all of those to make sure that they were in compliance.
Those were the from last year, right?
It had for the audit.
It did not.
No, that was current year too, that wasn't the adjustments.
So they have an estimated time when they're.
She's hoping by next week, did she tell you anything different, please? Yeah, so hopefully we'll have something by next week, and then she can be at the next council meeting, or I don't know if she's gonna do exit interviews or how she's gonna do it, but I'll reach out to her next week. I know Jacob just got back in this week.
How many reconciliations did you actually have?
A little over 1,700. Oh, reconciliation is 12, so,
1,200?
no, 12. So the reconciliation is 12 months, but journal entries, I did over 1,700. She said that was the most she'd ever seen in her.
Okay. This is just an update. Charles, anybody have any other questions on that? Alright. Okay. Q, update from city staff on financing infrastructure projects.
Alright. All right, so here, on the top part there is all the 2020, the 2022, that 1.6 is what's currently in the budget. So the 2022 capital budget, and you can see what has been expensed there to the left. So out of that 1.1 million 60, we've expensed out 356,000. So depending on how much more we get done, we've got to figure out how we're gonna get that paid. All right, so going back and forth with Andrew, and if you flip to the second page, that is the one that TRC gave us, and the one that I think Charles Tate had given, or one of us. The ones that I have checked on the side there are the ones that are pending that TRC says that we really can't wait on. Is that the ones you were talking about, Charles?
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yeah.
So with that and the elevated storage tank came out to 5.5 million. On the very back page, Andrew did a amortization of what it would cost for us to be able to fund that fund bond. So based upon, and I did write that in, I'm sorry because I was in a hurry, but based on the 5.5 million, it'd be about 420,000 a year that we would have to pay back. The question was, based upon our operating P&L, he was concerned and wanted me to crunch the numbers a little bit more. After we went out, we were on the phone for probably 2 hours going over stuff.
Again, the question is 420 year doable? Where we stand right now.
That's where we're working right now. So it depends, I mean, are these 2022 is gonna get done? You know, if those get done, that's gonna drain some more money. You know, or the 2023s, if we adopt that, you know, we gotta make sure that we can pay that back. So, are we gonna put more capital projects on the budget? You know, we just have to have a real budget. And that was Mark's thing. This needs to be an accurate budget of what we're really gonna spend and what we're really not gonna spend. Not a wish list, not, you know, well, let's hope we get, you know, we're gonna do, you know, 800,000 sidewalks. If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it, but we've got to make sure that we can account for that money and do what we need to do. So we can make sure we have the money.
And council, just so you know, if you look on that top page where it's a 2024 capital budget improvements, and it talks about the wastewater treatment plant and why Andrew and Lynette put it on there is based on TRC's recommendation, based on the timeline that they're looking at. In a sense of 75% capacity based on the homes. Lynette actually collected, I think you've talked to every.
Look on the third page, look on this page, and that will give you everything. Andrew and I actually came up with that to give, because we were trying to take into consideration for the impact fees and totals collected, and that kind of gives you an idea based upon location as well as year.
The homes being built, when they were being built and everything based on talking through subdivisions.
So at this point, 23, 24 may be our best bet for that CO.
And this is them trying to get it lined up, so we do it. And you don't want to be funding too early before we need to go ahead and take care of it. So, because the city can't afford to be able to do that. So you have to do it in increments as you actually build out the phases.
And I think Scott Harrelson talked about that he was gonna break that down.
That's correct. That's correct. So this is based on doing it in the timeline of the requirements, the timeline of the building the homes, and making sure that we're actually in front of this.
So if you look at that next page there, if you flip it over, those are current, I didn't label it for you, but those are impact fees that were allocated to the system for the last, since 2020. 21. And then what's down at the bottom there is what's showing up in the bank.
What are we at on the water and sewer rates?
On the studies. But just take a good look at this on how you put that together. That's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, based off the engineer passion report that we had 3 years ago.
Right.
And then the elevated storage tank, we're gonna need in
2024, is that what you said?
2024.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the idea is getting that lined up. Fair Oaks Ranch, for example, it took them a year to get their elevated storage tank. Now we got it completed last November, December. You know, it took them, decide on engineering plans, all that, it took them a year. So, I mean, 2024, of course, right around the corner.
For that 12 million?
Not for, I mean, it wouldn't be the full 12 million, that's a sewer, that's a wastewater treatment plant expansion. The elevated storage tank would be like the water tower
Right.
that we, we're gonna need that first. I think that's the first major infrastructure thing, other than the well.
But
Well, might have a
that
little bit of time for
that was
that
a great-
wastewater treatment expansion, but that's a big ticket item, and well, waiting, right, is gonna cost more ultimately too, so we can. But that's, I guess, if y'all confirm that we are gonna be able to get the full impact fees
That-
on some of the new homes, but
We're
not all.
those are estimated. So that's the best estimation that we could come through on that chart there on Samco.
So based on TRCs and discussing with Andrew and Lynette in that meeting, the 12-inch pipeline loop, that FY 23, that's kind of like the priority that they told us is to get that 12-inch. The next thing would be in FY 24, about taking care of the elevated tank and the booster pump. And then in the middle of FY 24 and 25 is the actual wastewater treatment expansion. So that's how they laid it out for us, in the sense of being able to take care of it. And it's based on
Well, I think,
estimates.
Ruben, I think that was based upon completion.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't, so that's gonna go back to what Charles was saying, a year to make, or a year to start.
No, not completion, it's actually starting. It's actually starting. That's what they actually completed, because they were looking at trying to make sure that we started a certain time, so it'd be done by the time that the number of the houses are actually gonna be completed, and the demand is there. So that's their, the 12-inch pipeline, 23, elevated tank and booster pump, FY 24, and then the wastewater treatment plant, FY 24, 25. That's the reason why they were checking into the permitting that we had requested TRC to do about a year and a half ago.
And it was done.
Because that's the one that takes the longest for the wastewater treatment plant, to be able to do that.
And then if you go back to your file there, I also put our cash assets in there where we stand right now. I know I think Ruben, you mentioned something to me about the sidewalks, different ways to fund that, that's kind of where we're sitting. So cash wise, we are fine, but we do have some cleanup to do to make sure the rest of it's going to work.
But we do have the flexibility of taking care of that project, maybe some additional streets, or street area to go ahead and do that based on other opportunities. So some of the list items, it would just come from a different area, versus it actually coming from the certificates of obligation. But they're working together, trying to put everything together.
And I gave you as much detail as possible in there, so y'all can all go through the numbers and extrapolate it yourself as well.
Is this something that
All
you,
the,
is this something that you also foresee as part of the financial committee too?
yes, absolutely.
There you
This
go.
was the reason I wanted the financial committee.
So that gives another opportunity to also help out with that discussion too. Okay.
Basically, what you're saying is we got work to do.
You know, work to
Doing
do.
more now.
What is that, what was that movie with the Stephen King movie? Stephen King, we have what to do.
Stephen King, I thought he was an awards guy.
No,
It,
it was.
as long as it's not it, that used to be my.
Yeah.
Not that one, please.
Lynette, just be ready for a lot of stupid questions. from me.
No, and I want you to, there is no stupid questions in the county, that's one thing that really gets me when people say, you can ask me, you can come sit with me, I will show you, and I'll be more than happy to just go through the basics until you understand the song. Because, yeah, it's very important.
I agree. Okay.
Out of that. Council, anything else on that? No? Okay. Appreciate that. Okay. Art, discuss and consider hiring litter abatement employees. Charles?
Thanks, Mayor. Well, I think that there exists a problem with people littering in the city. It's been that way since, I can remember when we go down every single street in Lyle, we can find trash. I don't know, how many bags did y'all end up collecting this past weekend?
I don't think we actually put anybody on the street this week. No one showed up right away, so we just mainly did dumpsters.
Well, I mean, I know, I guess 2 weeks prior to that, when we were walking the streets, I was able alone to pick up a full bag in 1 hour. You know, and I wanted, this is an idea that I had in the shower, that's where most of my good ideas come. At least I think so.
I want your permission there, Charlie.
Well, I'm getting clean. I want you to know that I bathe on a regular basis. But the thing is maybe this is an opportunity for us to provide some part-time employment for retirees or anybody who's taking an active interest in beautifying the city. I think this kind of ties in with what Christopher was talking about, ideas. And I think you'll find in this conference that he goes to, that having active community participation, picking up trash is contagious, right? And people are going to take a little more pride in life if the streets are cleaner. That's why I want to talk to the rest of the council, maybe something might not necessarily be hiring tonight for, but we look here in the next couple months when we start talking about next year's fiscal budget to provide some money that I think that we can even use out of the tourism fund, I think, to help. You know, the studies show that clean communities, they attract more people, more residents, more businesses, so if we're able to, I'm not saying the city's gotta be spotless, but I think it would go a long way to making it a nicer place to live, so that's my thoughts on that.
Maybe get some input from the committee, you know, who they may know somebody that they.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think that it's just something worth discussing. It's gonna take people actively going out there and picking up trash, and magically pick it up yourself. And I feel like even when we do our trash pickup, that I always feel like we could do more. You know, I always feel like, hey, we're doing this every day.
You don't see this community service, Charlie,
Yeah,
don't you think?
I mean, I think I had a conversation with some parents. They have some kids involved in National Honor Society. They're always looking for stuff. I think the problem is that they need an adult to sign off on it. You know,
James, did you have something?
Yeah, we sent a couple of guys out before we mow or shred all the right of ways, pick up trash, so.
Yeah, it's always out there. I mean, I see it out there, people pick it up, but people are throwing it out, especially along 35. I see it every day. New trash shows up.
We don't do textile.
Yeah.
They do it on Roma. I pick up beer cans, soda cans, Whataburger cups.
Before we hire, I'd sure love to maybe make some sort of a plea, whatever, call to the community. Like you said, seniors, retirees, civic groups.
Yeah, I would say, my thought is it's to kick it over to the beautification committee, come up with some ideas on what responsibilities this role or roles should have. I think the more people can get involved, the better off we're all going to be. So I move that we refer this item to the beautification committee to come back and when do y'all meet again, Christopher?
Coming up May 10th or 11th, May 10th.
I move that we refer this to the beautification committee, come back with some ideas on these positions. And once they're able to meet, then they come back to the council based off their recommendations.
I second.
Chris, you think maybe the first meeting in June, you might be able to bring something back to the council?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Council, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? All right. Yes, consider next upon the proposal for fireworks show for the 4th of July. Feels that you actually provided a contract?
Yeah, I provided the whole thing, and
These are the same people that used to do it, right?
yes.
I think it's on page 6. We got on page 6 on there, so they're giving us the options that we have on there.
We will have to amend our budget for the other, for both.
How much do we have on budget?
Well, we have a little over $11,000 left right now, with the bill still coming in.
So for 10 minutes, it's $7,000, for 15, 10,500. So 5 minutes more is $3,500 for 5 minutes more fireworks.
It's about $3,500 every 5 minutes.
You can see down here how much they're. Different shots that they have. So it's double on the 66 string. Bigger.
So we do have money for that.
Well, Josie's saying that we still have some additional
Still
ones.
have some additional bills coming in. I would say we might take an amendment of about $2,000 for the fireworks.
There's a general fund,
General fund.
about the third fund, maybe one.
We had said before that fireworks could not be paid out of the hot tax. So it would require a budget amendment.
So we can afford the 7,000 with what we have.
Yeah, but I mean,
We can amend the budget.
I think where we're at, we haven't had a show in a while.
We need,
Lionel needs a little bit of hurrah, I think. I move that we go with option two, and amend the budget, budget two.
Motion. Second? Okay, any further discussion on that?
Who's the second?
Sam?
I thought it had to be on it. That's all. I mean,
Okay, any other discussion?
What else are we doing besides the fireworks show?
We
We
haven't-
talked about that yet?
We haven't even discussed that yet.
I mean, is there a way that we can offset that increase in cost by getting, you know,
Actually, if we do anything else, it's gonna increase that cost that much more. I mean, we
uh,
had the hot dogs and the,
I think
and
we
the
asked the
drinks and
VFW
stuff
to
like
take
that.
care, we asked the VFW to go ahead and take care of the hot dogs.
Have we asked them? But I mean, we usually pay for them.
what about having like food trucks, charging food trucks,
Also,
something like that?
do they usually give us a percentage of what they bring in? When you get a food truck?
For the food truck, we've never done a food truck thing, so I don't know.
Might be some.
But on the,
Yeah.
the truck over there, I thought, downtown, on that bar,
No, food trucks are popular, I mean, and how many people only come to this event? 1,000, 2,000, you got people want to eat more than just hot dogs, so.
It's an idea.
be plenty of those.
Sure, and if the food trucks be willing to give us a cut of whatever they bring in, to allow them to be there, that would help offset it, sure.
You know, I don't know how that, how we would stress
So
that.
Josie, in the past, didn't we go through an organization that they would actually take the lead with a certain portion? And because,
Well, the VFW prepared the hot dogs for us. We paid for everything.
no, that's correct. But whenever we had some additional, when they brought in some vendors, and they would actually charge,
I've never done an event where we've done that.
how did we do it with Frenchy Burke?
That was the Chamber of Commerce that did that. I didn't do that.
The VFW would charge, the food trucks that were in there. A certain amount,
But it was,
because I remember I worked with Larry,
You mean for the Freedom?
Yeah.
Day, Freedom Parade thing?
so they had, so it was through an organization. Because Tom, isn't there something in the sense that we can't charge certain things inside the city because of property?
Park. You can't charge for entry into the park.
Like for a concert or a ball game or something like that, if they're in the park, you can't charge to get in the park, so if they, they can watch the ball game or they can listen to the music and it doesn't cost them anything. But like if they want to buy food or something like that, or, I think.
So we have a concession stand.
Yeah, we have a concession stand for the little league,
So do
so
we
they
need to
always.
find, is that something like we do the food trucks, is that something that we need to go ahead and take responsibility? Or do we need to find an organization to handle that portion of it? Because of the funds.
Well, we would, I know that the chamber before, way back when I was really active in the chamber, we used to charge booth fees. And they used to charge a little bit more if the vendor needed electricity. But I don't know how they've done it for Frenchy Burke. I would imagine they've done it something along those lines where they got booth fees for it. But, I don't know.
So it was a separate, what I'm saying, it was a separate organization, so we need to find somebody to kind of take the lead with that.
Ramrod that, yeah.
If we find an organization, they're gonna wanna cut that pie to make it work.
Yeah.
Can the city legally charge somebody, a vendor, to set up a food truck and a track? Not, I agree with Charles, tracking how much they sold is probably gonna be hard. It's $100 if you wanna set up that. Could the city legally do that and have a contract with them?
yes,
That'd be the way to go, you gotta find somebody to work with.
that's what VFW did, they were charging $175, that's what they told me.
I'm with you, I'm just saying, is that something that we can do from the city directly with the vendor? Or is it something that, because of what Joseph's examples and with VFW and what they've done, we always had a different organization handle it?
The city could directly do it.
All for that.
Sounds like something for the new city administrator.
Yeah, you know how much time that would take?
I'll get it done.
If to take the You're
We
looking
can
at-
get, we can
You're
get,
looking at a lot of man-hours. The chambers, they really get, it, you know, they really, had a bunch, and they spent days ahead of time, so.
On Bridgebrook.
Yeah. And so the city had employees right there that had all, you know,
Isn't the
days.
chamber gonna have a food truck rally here in the next month or so?
Yes.
Maybe. I mean, I think that, you know, that's the thing about, people gotta eat every day. You know, especially for Fourth of July festival, just adds to the appeal.
I'm sure they wouldn't mind spend money anywhere.
Yeah.
We'll have a list of all the food trucks.
Yeah,
You know,
that'll be-
people who are willing to drive out here and set up, like say, hey, look, we're looking to.
It'll be fresh in their mind.
So why don't we do this, council? We'll put this as an agenda item for the next meeting. Let's go ahead and discuss that. You know, because right now, all we can do is just act on the proposal for the fireworks show that we have. So we'll definitely put it for the next meeting.
Spend a lot of money at Fiesta or Strawberry Festival.
Okay, so I got a motion, got a motion and second, for us to go ahead and do option 2 on there for the 4th of July. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. T, consider an act upon a proposal for a demolition of the old kennels and installation of new ones. Oh, hold on, I'm sorry. Okay, council, it's 8:13 right now. Do you want to go ahead and take care of this one, then we go on break, or you just want to go ahead and keep going? We got this and we got the reports for the department.
Let them do that.
Okay. Here you go, Santi. Come on up.
So Sandy turned in 2 different ones. We had the original from Midmark that was 14,880. We got another, budget bid, I'm sorry, for 11,165 from Armando Zamora. And that would be the total tear down and reconstruct of the new ones. Do you want to see this? So it is coming a little bit higher than, what Santi and I originally thought it was gonna be. It's with a $2,500 down payment and 865, or 8,665 at completion.
This would be a down payment, but he's not providing any of the materials.
Sure, that's what's going to be real. Pass it around if you want to look at it. Santi, you have anything to add with that?
No, he didn't say
And
anything.
he can start next week?
Yeah, he can start whenever I can find.
So Santi, how are you gonna handle with the number of pets that we?
Well, he's gonna start on one side and then take off one side and then install the new ones.
Do you
Then
have flexibility?
yes,
How long do they expect you to
he
take?
said 5 to 10 days.
How much capacity do you have with the new kennel?
It's the same capacity. It's just these are stainless steel, not like the old ones are metal and they're all rusted.
Okay. So this is an improvement, not an
Yes.
enlargement?
Yes.
Okay.
This is in the, budget of the,
There was 10,000 in the budget for that, it's in your, yeah, so it would be a little bit more.
Are the ties still on the kennels?
Yes, yeah, that's what I was.
That's maybe a question, and they're gonna get, the kennels, it's costing us to take them out. We're getting some for free, can we see if they wanna help with the little, skinny game maybe? I mean, they're gonna get something out of it in these kennels. I know the install, it's nothing personal, I haven't seen them, and I don't know the whole story, but it's metal. Ask Natalia, I wanna come over and help us demo these. Then we're only paying for an install of something it's not gonna be perfect when it comes out, and that's where we're gonna spend a lot of money, is trying to keep them perfect for them. to now
Santi,
have a
what have
perfect-
we agreed with them before?
No, just, we'll take it out, put it in the yard, and they have to come get it. That's
I know we're trying to hurry on this, because we've had them for probably close to a year and a half sitting there. I understand the need for it, for sure. But, I don't know, just in my mind, they're getting something that they need and they want for free. It's a cost to us and our taxpayers. I'm all about helping out, but just,
Are you
if we can
saying
get help
ask them
taking,
ask them for a donation?
I don't know about a donation, but maybe the biggest deal on taking them down something is you didn't have to help to do it, correct?
Yes, correct.
If they come over and help with
If
it,
we
taking
come
it
over-
down, then he can't charge us as much for the demolition.
We just charge them
We
for
can
the
offset it. We can offset some of that money and go and stay within the 10,000 we have in the budget, so we wouldn't have an amendment.
So they want.
So, Santi, would you,
I
because
can-
that would be between you and Natalia working
Yeah,
on it.
I can get with them tomorrow and speak to them and get back and email y'all what he tells me.
A cutoff wheel on a grinder, I've seen the chemicals, a cutoff wheel on a grinder, a day to get a whole side taken down.
So he'll have to do it in phases, because he's got to.
That's okay, we can take one half down and then get that back up. And then a week or two later, whatever it is, take the other half. I'm just trying to see a way we can save money. And if we're not asking, we haven't been told no yet.
This is true.
Let's ask.
Go, Matt.
Yeah, I can get with them
At the very
tomorrow.
least, you ought to be able to provide somebody to help.
If not, I think we could get something worked out and get this taken down. It may not be as perfect, if they don't want help, they may not be perfect.
I think Richie has a grinder.
There you go. Look like.
I'll get with them and I can email them
Yeah.
to make sure if they still want them. Then if they don't want them, then we can just scrap it.
They don't want them, makes it a lot
Yeah.
easier.
So, I think he's trying to get it done. I think we can probably go ahead and make a motion and just put it up to the amount that they're charging. And then for them to go ahead and work out the possibility, see if they can come in and maybe we can. How much is that, the takedown? There you go.
So Mayor, budget-wise, we have 10,000 in capital improvements for 150, but we also have a residual 4,494 in just regular repairs and maintenance for the rest of the year. So we could split that cost out a little bit without doing it again in the future.
So,
Unless there's some other repairs that I'm not aware of that are.
I'm just saying to give them the flexibility to do what they need to do, I think we should just go ahead and approve it all and then just work closely, see if we can knock that down and at least they have that flexibility.
Well, I move that we go with the lower bid and that you make all efforts possible to do the demolition ourselves within the day.
Okay.
Is that a second? Any further discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, go ahead and do that. It's 8:19 right now. Let's go ahead and take a quick 10-minute break. 8:30.
The sparks are coming.
I leave my phone there. Huh? Watch my phone.
No, right now, I'll take it, just so I don't forget it. No, just stay on,
You almost took the laptop down. Isn't that the new laptop you bought?
Oh, yeah, I'd always start over during the day and make it.
Something like that?
They don't let me use this way.
I don't know.
I forgot about this.
Evening,
How we doing?
we're here.
Good. Okay.
Irish side.
Oh, you were right.
That's funny, Gary. That's funny.
I need work again, you go. You said, oh, wrong. There's that.
Yep, yep. So, Josie, so, don't forget, can I sign that contract you said it in first thing on the fireworks?
Oh, that one is mouse.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
You want to go ahead and sign your?
Yeah, because we need to,
That's design.
we need to get it to them ASAP. The copy I have, I don't see where. Let me check your copy, I don't see a place here, unless I'm just signing, not a placeholder on it.
It's just a proposal, isn't it?
Yeah, it was just a proposal, so I don't think we have the actual contract,
Okay, Can we,
but I could let it know that
can we
we,
get it ASAP and let me know, and I'll stop by and sign it? I'm gonna be in Natalia tomorrow morning. They coming so here, so if I need to do it earlier, let me know.
I'll let it know that we need it, and I'll let you know if we get it.
We don't wanna miss out the opportunity. Okay.
There's a way to turn on
Okay,
the mouse.
we can show 8:31 PM. Let's go ahead and get back. First one up, Santi. You're up, here you go. It's gonna take care of, department head reports, animal control director's report. Go ahead.
Month of March, 99 call service, 7 traps out, euthanized 1. Transferred 30 animals out to rescues, and 27 intakes. The 2 dogs to SNPSA, 4 dogs, or total 6 dogs to Humane Society. Like the part of 2 dogs to Texas Wild Rescue and 3 to CCPAL, and 12 cats to SNPSA. March, we had probably a lot of volunteers come in, and 10 volunteers, total of 82 hours. Some of them were from school during spring break. They came down and volunteered.
That's awesome.
Current and donated city funds. City funds, March, animal medical, 6,395, our spay neuter fund, 9,015, facility fund is 20,577. Pretty good. Total euthanized, so far this year is 4 animals, we had 4 adopted and 97 transferred to rescues. Still doing the drive-through service at ours through, still lining up early. So we started a little earlier to get the traffic off the 0.79 going, cause an accident or anything. And that's it. I do have, tomorrow I'm transporting 6 animals to San Antonio to go to Quebec. And then also tomorrow I'm having 4 dogs transferred to San Antonio Humane Society. And then Thursday, another 4 dogs to San Antonio Humane Society. They take 4 large dogs, so, you know.
After all that, how close is it gonna get to the 20?
It should be close, with these animals moving out and everything. But like I said, we've been lately, this month, we've been having like a dumping problem, someone coming in the city and dumping animals. Just in a single day, we had 5 animals, 3 at HB, 1 at the park, 1 in Waterfall Circle. So they're coming into town. They call me, ask if I service that, I'm like, no, and then next day later, we have dogs in the city. So there's no way, this small town, we should have as many strays, it's like San Antonio pretty much.
That'll get us close to the 20 after
Yeah.
all these.
Yes. We're doing pretty good though.
So that'll help out in the time when we do the
Yes.
kennels. Yeah, take care of that. Have you got any updates on the spay and neuter program?
There's.
It's gonna happen?
It's gonna happen, on Saturday, they're gonna, Allies is gonna be selling vouchers. And then I think it's like June 18th or something like that, when they're coming out.
So we're
We're gonna
gonna,
be selling the vouchers?
Yeah, the Allies, to make up for the money that the Pam from Houston donated to the Lidle Animal Allies. It's like $25 or $50.
instead of, what's the normal cost?
It's like 150, depending on what kind of animal you have, $200 to get a dog or a female spayed. But that money is not me selling it, it's, at Allies.
It's an offset based on the donations that they're getting.
They got donated money.
And who's the company that is gonna come out?
I don't know the SNAP, I'm not sure what the company name is, but it's something, someone helping out.
So, council, if you remember, because it's been a while since they've been out,
Yes.
right? They used to have a vehicle out there and they would do the spay and neuter, which would help out, with the pet population and everything. So they were able to work out, getting them back out there.
Yeah, getting back up there, people won't drive San Antonio, they don't like. Because for as cheap as SNAP is all 14 a year, whatever, your animal.
They worked with some of the local vets around the area, but this is the best, the cheapest option. So you can get the more bang for the buck. Okay. Council? anything? Thanks so much, appreciate it. Okay, library?
Wasn't sure if you had gotten something. Just in case. This one's going to be looking for this.
All right, so the open computers are a little bit less this time, but we've had more people coming in here to just to print, but I just need this to print out, they don't want to, they mainly use their laptops or use the Wi-Fi. And I forgot to get the number for the kids, there's actually quite a few kids that need the little ones that don't have internet. Our checkouts have gone up, we went from less than 1,000 to over 1,000, and this month it's going to be a little more because we already had a lot of people this week and last week. April only made 6 new library cards and we reviewed 25 and our checks will make, I'm sorry, 20 new library cards and 6 new accounts. And we're probably going to start doing all of our events in June. We're just waiting for everything, for Nicole to get used to everything. So she's doing really well. And the library section project that we had talked about, we completed the young adult nonfiction and we're working on the DVDs right now. And then she's going to go to the adult nonfiction from there and then the rest of it. We're still offering curbside, like I said, we still have a few ladies who do not want to come in, or they're just like, no, I don't, just put my books outside, I'll meet you at the door. They just go down there. And we did the library displays for March, we had, of course, Texas history, women's history, and people were like, can I take, yes, you can take from the display, it's just, we had craftsman and then Irish American heritage. And of course, we're still working on those labels. I started cataloging the books for the Texas Book Festival grant, so hopefully I'll have them done by May. We've been getting other people coming in, I'm like, okay, I have to stop, all right, what's going on, and then go back to them. But we have about probably 150 children, well, juvenile books, and then about 100 adult books. So hopefully they'll be done by May. And that's it. Anybody has any questions?
That's it. Thanks, Sam, appreciate it. Superscape.
Evening. Anybody's has driven down, Railroad Street, Northwood towards, San Antonio, they may have noticed that Atascosa County Precinct 2 brush hogged, from McDonald Street all the way to the city limits, the end of, last month. Took them a couple of days to do it. Public Works was out there, giving them a little assistance in some of the trees and also providing, traffic control for those days that they were there. In fact, they had to block off, the road and divert the traffic. Seems to be a lot easier. People just driving down there, looking, and slowing down the work, so, but it took about 2 days to get it done.
We get a chance to drive through that.
It did a pretty good job.
James, Steve, thank you so much for that. Appreciate that.
They're able to, they brought down their brush machine, to brush it off of the pavement, not brush machine, well, the chip machine, to brush the chips off the pavement and get it out to the bar ditches, so made it a little bit easier instead of having to root it all down.
Thanks for coordinating.
I didn't do much, and just talk to them.
You coordinated it. Appreciate that.
Removed debris from 10 locations and small amounts of debris around the city last month. And then last month, I had only 2 locations that people put brush out early. Already in this cycle, I've gotten 3 locations of people who've put brush out, talking to them, trying to contact them to let them know that what the actual dates and times they can put it out. These are locations that normally don't, consistently put out brush. And leading into that, there's a huge tree on Wisdom Road that was cut down. So large, I don't know how the ex-resident from that property was able to cut the tree down and get it out to the right of way. I mean, it's enormous. I believe I think the address is 18903. I don't have it.
Is it between Lake Street and
It's,
Bear County?
it's down past Lake Street down there. I told the resident that lives there, I approached the resident, and she advised me that her ex-husband came in on a weekend, cut it down and disappeared. Yeah, I think he's a contractor somewhere, and he might, somewhere, he got some pretty big equipment to haul some large chunks of the trunk of the tree down. I believe the tree was dead. It's kind of hard to tell after it's cut it down to the ground. I couldn't find any leaves anywhere, so.
So they hauled everything up.
He hauled it out of the property, put it in the city right away for land pickup.
Was it cut down enough where they would be able to pick it up?
It was not cut down enough, the trunk, like.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And no, so I told the resident, hey, they're not gonna be able, Hector's not gonna be able to get it. And, she said, okay, I'll tell my husband, ex-husband, to get it, to move it. Finally, it hadn't gotten moved. I tried to call the ex-husband. He won't answer his phone. So anyway, cut it all down. I talked with Hector, and Hector tried contacting the ex-husband.
But this ex-husband's got a lot of attention.
Yeah, and he wouldn't return Hector's telephone calls, so Hector has talked to the resident, the Mrs. that lives there now, and they're working something out, I think, to get it moved out. Hector tells me if he's moving it out, he's not big person, big shaker to move it out. I guess he's gonna take it down to the sewer plant.
It'll never burn.
But there's no room down there. And
Whatever he's got, that size will not burn unless they cut it up.
yeah,
They're huge.
so I'm working on trying to get something done there with that. If y'all ever hadn't driven down Winston Road and seen it, it's,
Is it an oak tree or?
no, wasn't an oak tree. I'm not sure what, it was an old, I'm not sure what type of tree it was. Definitely wasn't an oak tree. I've been screaming and hollering at it, yeah.
Go on, sure.
Make a table.
Yeah, it would make it real nice, several real nice things. I had 8 residents using sprinklers at the inappropriate times. Basically, in the mid-afternoon, anywhere from 1 o'clock till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I gave them the stage 2 restrictions, explained to them when they could, what day and times they could water. All except for one person was very coherent to what I was telling them, and then this one person just fairly belligerent with me, but that's all right. I'm keeping an eye on this one. I believe I'm gonna have to start getting out later in the evenings and early in the mornings to see some people going around. There are certain areas, certain places that people are watering their grass. Now, how, I don't know. I can't go up there and tell them, hey, your grass is too green, I think you're.
The middle of the night. I've heard. I heard that in the middle of the night.
Now, if people tell me, yeah, I'll go up there.
But that's when people, okay, I got friends in San Antonio, that's what they tell me, they water in the middle of the night when ain't nobody around. I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a cop, I can tell you, that's how people do it.
That's why we got ready to read meters.
She was asking. That's
Until
one of
you
the things
win.
I was gonna bring up. I mean, we have people that have their own personal well, right?
Yes, I know almost all of them.
Have you
Yes.
gotten that list?
Yes, yeah, I have that out there. There, and years ago, people would complain. People driving by, but I think most everybody, I don't know if people just aren't paying attention, or they know that these people have private wells, but, yes, I know who has private wells.
So you don't think these people are the ones that have wells?
The ones that
We can probably tell with the water consumption.
yeah, you can tell with water consumption and green grass, the ones that I'm talking about do not have private wells.
But you can water by hand still or
But
not?
you can water.
That's
by
what my
hand.
wife does. She stands out there and waters by hand for 2 or 3 hours. So
Yeah.
that theory is only, and that's
Right.
perfectly legal.
Yes.
And it keeps her busy.
I prefer,
doesn't know enough to do.
prefer her be jogging, but you know.
You like keeping her busy.
Shut up.
I forgot we got YouTube here.
Can we just leave a friendly door reminder on those doors? Watering.
We could do that.
Friendly door reminder of their watering time.
That's what I do.
That's easy.
Yeah, yes.
We know, we're watching.
All right.
And last but not least, we had a complaint at a Park Place. Actually, one resident, the residents told me his neighbors were complaining about a 8+ acre field next to them that had dry, tall grass weeds growing. And it took me a while, but I was able to track down, I think, the owner and got it shred. It was about so tall.
You call Josie, and he doesn't call me, and I call him, but he didn't answer his phone, so.
Yeah, I'm sure Mr. Johnson's very happy.
Okay, yeah, well, he wasn't happy with me, because it was taking me a while to get it done, but I finally got it out there. It got to the point I was gonna have to get somebody to go out there and do it and put a lien on the property, but I just felt that was just, well, I just didn't do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, take care.
Got a question.
Yes.
We have 12 oak trees and they drop their leaves in the spring and we're raking bag after bag of leaves. Okay, we put them in big black plastic bags. And when they came by the other day, they said, yeah, they need to be in paper bags. What's the truth of this? They took the few that we had already bagged up in the black bags, but they said we need to go to Home Depot and buy the.
Is this with our brush pickup?
That was waste management
Yeah.
that picked that up. And there is a problem there. Hector, brush pickup, they can't recognize, they don't know what's in the dark plastic bags.
Okay.
So unless I go up there and check each bag, which I did last month, go out and check each bag for leaves and let Hector know, then Hector will pick them up. Waste management, I am told, says they don't pick it up because it's believed to be garbage. They're in garbage bags, so they're believed to be garbage, which I think is a bunch of,
I put mine in I put like a couple of mixes big.
yeah, they, yeah.
That's what they've asked us to do, just tell the people to put it in their green, garbage. container.
Well, I put bags, I have about 7 or 8 huge oak tree, and I could probably put 70, 80 bags, you know. So I've got 10 or 12 bags out now. I've talked to the trash guys. Nobody's ever told me, and, you know, I've mixed in stuff I'm cleaning from the garage. I put stuff in those big contractor bags because it doesn't tear, and I can, you know, I mean, so I've got 8 or 10 bags out right now, and I don't know, if they don't pick them up, this will be the first time they haven't done it.
That's the thing. Most of the time, Waste Management will pick them up. It depends on who the manager is at the time. Last month, I took pictures and they came back and picked up the bags. Now, this month, I haven't taken pictures and I'm checking to see if they come through to pick up the bags. If they don't, I'm gonna make them come back and pick up the bags, because it's very obvious that there are leaves in the bags or twigs in these bags. Now, maybe you could hide a oil can in there or a paint can or something in there, but I don't think anybody would do that, especially if you look at their yard. It's been leafed up and put into the bags. I mean,
But if Waste Management saying they're not picking them up because they're not in the totes?
because they believe them to be garbage.
And the garbage is not inside the tote, and they're only picking up what's in the totes, correct, by contract?
Right.
No, we're talking about, this is during leafy, this is once a month bulky waste pickup. And that's my question, and I asked the guys out there, what's bulky? Because my neighbor cleaned out the garage, put a whole stack of junk out there. I didn't, you know, they picked it up. I mean, it's been going on for a couple of years. So they pick up, bulky waste is actually, they told us it's anything that doesn't fit in the totes, that you know, it's stuff when you're cleaning up, so that's.
Right.
Okay, so when do I put I will have 40 bags of leaves, nothing but leaves and.
Tonight?
Yeah, they haven't been down to town.
Because I got them back in my property now, can I put them out on the other side of the?
They're supposed to come around and pick up.
Yeah. So, bulky waste
You can buy a clear
was
box.
supposed to start today.
Leaf
I didn't
tags.
see them picking up anything at all.
Salt.
They certainly just check it out.
Yeah.
All right, so I need to drag them out there tonight, huh? Okay.
Tomorrow, you have a chance to take it tomorrow, try that.
On a normal month, I don't put them out there when it's limbs picked up, I put them out there the next week,
Fourth Monday.
the fourth month.
Fourth Monday.
Okay.
It's a problem. It is a problem.
Yeah, it's, with the lumber bags I got, and you know what really works? Give them guys some tacos or a tip, they'll pick up anything.
Council, anything else?
It's a tree.
I hope it helps.
Good, hard working
Thanks,
people.
Appreciate that. James?
Good American people, working hard people. working hard. They sell really plastic bags, if you put them in, you see them. I've seen a lot of them put out. They sell big plastic, clear.
Okay, like the big, 75 gallon.
Yeah.
I'll look for them.
Let's get back. How many look last year? We take them.
We could have like all this year, oh yeah, all this year.
Okay, last month we installed 16 new meters. We had one main break, replaced one meter, replaced 2 service lines, 1 angle stop, and meter washer. On the sewer, we had 2 customers leak and 5 sewer main stoppages. And these are in either Harris Park or Park Place, is where we're having trouble. Locates, did 30 locates, rereads on water and gas, 108, final 7, new 7. We had 32 people on the cutoff list and reconnected 31 of them. And miscellaneous work orders, we have 23. That's kind of a chart. And our man hours, water installation, 24 hours, water maintenance, 148. sewer maintenance 53.5, sewer plant maintenance 180.5. Meter reading 86.5 hours and rereads 28. Asphalt work 32.5, and base material 20 hours and a half. Locates 30.5 hours, mooring and shredding 23. Burn brush 54, miscellaneous 384, for a total of 1,065. The guys had 39.5 hours vacation, 12.5 sick leave, personal 8.5, for a total of 60.5 hours. And that's a little chart on their man hours. Have any questions?
I do. When is Cruz gonna get to that water line on Wisdom Road?
Oh, I don't.
He said he was getting,
He told me a week to 10 days last time I talked to him. It's been 2 weeks
I
ago.
was gonna say, it's been more than that, yeah.
Yeah, he's aware of it. He said all the material was in, and nothing talked to him.
Yeah, he said he had to get the crew.
Yeah.
We'll check with them.
We're far past the week between Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, I need to check with him when I catch him.
Hey, James, how's it going with the smart meters? Everything good with the smart meters? We, in the sense, remember you purchased so many and trying to get them within the warranty period and all that?
Yeah, we need to set up training.
That's gonna be in June.
Yeah.
They contacted me.
Okay, did that? Okay. We gotta set that up. But what we start doing is we're gonna try to figure out how many we need to list. We got 200 for this year budgeted, I believe. And, I think we probably have about 60 installed, so we probably got about 80 on the shelf, and we thought we might start putting them in, going out of town.
Yeah, going towards Lucky
And
Road.
then, good thing about these meters, they'll be able to tell on people, you know, when they're using the water, and how much they use, so we'll see how that works.
But that's gonna be nice.
That'll make it easier. I mean, your chart, when you look at meter reading and how many hours,
Yeah.
that's the busiest.
You figure the man hours and you figure the trucks and the gas and the rereads, you know, for those 3 days, so I think you'll make it up for yourself.
Awesome.
You know, pretty quick.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, Richie.
Okay. Once again, this is, kind of old data from last month. Okay. 50 calls for service, vehicle collisions, still really not much for all the traffic, alarm calls, a lot of commercial. A lot of that happens when you have a little weather event or something, all your commercial alarms go off. 6 residential alarms, almost, even for a town our size, that's minimal, very minimal. Probably see a lot more once we get these new subdivisions. You probably see, once those are built out, you probably see 10, 15 alarms a day, in my opinion. 71 business checks, 414 building checks, 218 citations issued, 69 for, 69 for stop sign or red light, 66 for speeding, no insurance, 42. Lot of stops. A lot going on out there. It's a pretty busy month, to tell you the truth. The racial profile, and I'm gonna go through that. It's just that complies with the state thing. We do it monthly as opposed to, adult arrest, a little bit of everything on there. Dope, warrants. Resisting arrest, criminal mischief that happened up at HEB. As a guy who stole some stuff, tried to steal some stuff, then ran and tore their door up when he was leaving, and then eventually the officer arrested him. Warrant service, warrant. A little bit of dope. Stole one stolen vehicle. DWI, dope. That's about the only names that changed. That really hadn't changed much in 2 years. Only thing we've really seen change much is you've got less family violence now.
when I started, we had a lot more family violence arrests. I think less now because of the cell phones. People are able to call for help, get out of situations, get friends, family. It's kind of I probably should write a little paper or research on that. It's very interesting how we don't have much of that anymore.
So Richie, question on, especially with the warrants and all that other stuff. Because I know we have a lot of people come, would you say a lot of these folks are from outside the city limits? Or are they inside the city limits?
Oh, you mean where they live?
Yes.
Oh, no, I would think maybe hardly anybody we arrested from in the city.
So mostly it's from outside, the other communities coming through.
Passing through.
I mean, it'd be just like if we said, okay, HEB's here, and it's gonna try to survive off just the people who live in the city. It closed down in a week. There's just not enough people here. There's not enough people here to support restaurants. There's not, the residents themselves are very small. So we only deal with a small percentage. We're like, Skip deals with people that live in the city and own property in the city. That's almost exclusively all he deals with. We're almost the exact opposite. We deal with most of the people that don't live here, they're just here. They came over here to go to Whataburger and get something to eat.
It's a good thing.
And the thing is, the population doesn't mean that much to us. What it means is that it affects it. But the commercial, every time a new business opens, it's gonna, this 7-Eleven, it's gonna suck thousands of people a day off the interstate.
When we went to the opening of the Whataburger, the spokesman said that we're servicing 50,000 people in an area.
And that's,
that they come in and out. And, so, yeah.
Go around.
so when we open that 7-Eleven, it's not gonna it's gonna get a whole new thousands of people that are new to here. A percentage of those people are gonna be crooks. They're gonna be wanted. They're gonna steal something out of the back of somebody's pickup. It's just like anything else. That's just the way it is. We've had over 2 cases where we've had murder suspects that have murdered people in other parts of the country and come through Lytle, stopped and got gas or ate, and
Stayed at the motel.
yes, well, that's a whole nother
That was
deal.
a good one.
But so then we get tasked with, hey, this guy just used a credit card, he's wanted for murder in Chicago. But of course, time we got the last one, that it's just not, but then you get the video, you secure what the guy was driving. These people are passing through. So every time you open a business here, you're gonna draw more people here. Okay? How many people went to Petranco in 1604, or Calabar in 1604? How many of us went over there when there wasn't any restaurants there and there wasn't no shops? Nobody. But now we all go, at least I know we do, and the people we run with do. So that's what you gotta keep in mind. Our population is constantly moving. And you can tell that by the people we arrest. When their family members call, they don't even know where they got arrested, somewhere on 35. Well, how many calls we get like this week?
Oh, I think
Today,
we already got 5 calls today. They were just trying to figure out where the car went or got stolen
Or somebody and none of it had anything to do with us, but so nobody knows where they even are. So
in our area, it's light.
So that's that. Burglaries, the high school, was that in March when it was catalytic converter?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, yeah, because it's early March, it's already almost the end of April, okay. Catalytic converters, mini storage, some paintball gun stuff there, and then somebody brought out the paintball, but that was, after that, we didn't have any more. Vests, wallets, HEB plus, a little bit of everything, garbage cans, those garbage cans from Waste Management, I guess if you only pay for one, you want 2, you just steal your neighbor's, I don't know. It looked like they did. I mean, some things are big. Where are you gonna put something like that? You can put it in the back of a pickup.
I caught one guy jumped over a fence and.
Oh, I heard you.
It's unbelievable. We had a stone barrel recovered. So we did the siren test. We had the department head meeting. Like 6 guys went to that field sobriety recertification in Hondo. Read to the primary school. Matt and I went to Border Expo. Matt and Frank and I, and everything went fine. But then there were some protesters when we were leaving, and they were yelling at us, and
say no to the expo.
Yeah, they said say no to the expo. They were, I don't know, I guess pro-immigration people. I don't know. But then they saw us we tried to slip by without seeing us, and then they started yelling at us, what did they say, quit your job or something?
Some in our group were a little frightened.
I got out of there, I was hungry, but they started yelling, quit your job, quit your job. Frank said, if I could afford it, I would, but you know, one of the deals. Anyway, it's always nice to have protesters, we're not used to them out here, so it was something different. Fire Marshal's Office, annual inspections, Napa AutoZone, Riley, Fire Safety, HEB, fuel line pressure test over at the 7-Eleven, and annual fire inspection Camino Real. So we've been pretty busy this month as well. Four people, 5 charges with Atascosa County, 2 people, 2 felonies with Atascosa County DA, none with Medina. See where we at on the overtime that ended on 3/23. We had 13 and a half hours overtime, so we did pretty good there. Guys took 73.5 hours vacation, and we had 45.5 hours of personal leave taken. So that's the one that just ended, right? Yeah, that one just ended. Really? No, that's the one that's not, they've got another one that just barely ended. Lewis is back over now on full time. He was putting in a lot of hours over there. He started Thursday. Lewis started Thursday full time, yes.
Okay, Council?
Vehicles, the Chevrolets are in. You know, we've got one at the sign shop in Hondo. We've got one at the upfitter. We don't have the radios. They've been ordered 6 months ago. We've got an issue with that. We're going, I don't know, supply chain, we were really doing well, and then they're same color like as my pickup, kind of a silver. What's that right up there on the screen?
I don't know, but it's.
I want to see what it's doing for you, if it's actually in English.
It's saying pretty good.
I don't have time for games picking. Okay, what else for you? 8 questions, I'm sorry, questions.
Okay. Thanks, Richie.
Or if you need, again,
Appreciate
the
it.
report, that's the stuff I put on there. If you think there's something good you want me to throw in there, I can do that too. I can put more on. Waterburger? What, did I do something?
Subtitles.
All right. Finance director.
We not only have to listen to them, we get to read it, right?
Yeah.
The only things that we have going, Samco, I've got to send some money to them on Tuesday. We've got to do to the escrow for the $15,000, which we'll wire transfer over there, for Sharon over at the bank. Okay. Alamo Signs came in for Brad Beazer. Has anybody got a contract or talked about a contract with him? No. Because remember he was saying that, he was gonna have a fee, and he wasn't gonna have a fee, and he was gonna, do you remember all that?
I remember it was part of the my board.
Is it on, I see the.
Yeah, we got a nice discount for it finally.
So I think that's what it was supposed to be. They were
But
supposed to
there's
go
nothing on
back.
there. He said that the people or residents would pay to have it.
Oh,
On
I don't
there.
think council went for that. It was,
So
because it's the
I mean,
city paying for the sign.
But talking to Brad, I think that he still thinks that's going to happen. So I think it's important before that, and this is fully approved, that we get some kind of contract where they understand. Because to me, and talking to Brad and to Tammy, is that space is gonna be bought for the sign, time, usage, and that they would be reimbursed for the time.
I just saw some, they still talked about leasing or advertising for the small businesses and the discounted rate and all.
So there was 2 parts to this, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the council, we approved to get it in order for us to go ahead and have the sign and start using it. The second portion of it was to be able to come up with some sort of agreement and run it through us, through legal.
Well, I thought
See whether or
I
not-
had understood Brad was gonna get with Tom. That's what I wanted to see if anything got there before we went ahead and put this through paper.
But I understood that we were gonna go ahead and buy it, reuse it. We said that we were gonna do
Yeah, we're
that.
gonna do that.
So we were gonna get it. The other portion of it is that we're gonna run it through us to make a determination, see if there was anything that's gonna be taken into consideration. So, that's how I understood. I mean,
So-
no matter what, we were gonna get it because we were gonna use it. We definitely need to be able to.
The board approved 60,000, we had to go back and forth a ton with them. Josie went back, Josie did this last time for me because they didn't put the buyback, or what's it called?
Buy
Buy board discount. She finally got that done, it came out at 51,691 with that 10% discount. So, are we good? Should I go ahead and do this through payables? Okay.
Yeah, I think we need to get a PO for them.
I just didn't want him to come back saying, oh, no, you agreed to do this.
No, that's the second part, and that was something different.
Second is our credit card system, the one that we currently have, they are taking it away. From talking to Virginia, I guess this happens often, but this is like the
I
third
think
time
this
they've
is the
done
third
that.
time.
Yeah, third time. So we will be getting a new one. They are discontinuing the models that we have here. Paula went through this and looked through it, Josie's seen it, just trying to pick which one that we want. One is gonna be 500, 800 per. Y'all wanna take a look at these? They're just credit card readers, just to be able to take payments.
Changes on the service fee.
There's no changes on the service fee. It's actually going to be a better deal, because we'll be able to do a cutoff time, so I won't have such a nightmare when it comes to reconciliations. As of right now, we have 2 cutoff times when it comes to the packets, the credit card packets. It's 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and then 12 o'clock midnight. So I have to reconcile both of those.
So it's basically just the equipment that we need to swap out.
And then buy the new readers.
We talked to Frontera yet?
I have not talked to Frontera about it. I've only been talking to Jordan, over at Tyler.
Might be good just to get Frontera, just to make sure the interface,
So,
how they're connected.
What kind of prices are on this?
one is 500, one's 800 apiece.
And how many do we need?
Well, Paul and I were talking about it the other day, she would really like one at her desk. We were going to talk to Josie about it and see what she thought. So she did, because they only have one, they have one in the front and then one at
Diane's, one at Virginia's,
Yeah.
and one at Lawrence.
So, depending on what was approved, she was hoping she could have her own board.
Well, don't you guys already have the funding? That funding is
So yeah,
available.
we still have the funding.
Yeah, we have funding under miscellaneous equipment.
Yeah. And for computer upgrades or something, we had something there too, a lot left for something we had to put in there, that we still had enough. So, but because this is, Jordan from Tyler said because this is something that we didn't have control over, there wasn't cost to us on that. And that's all.
Awesome.
Oh, this one will last.
Which one?
The new system with the credit cards. I mean,
Well, this
the
is
third
gonna be
time.
theirs, right, before they were using a third party, I think in the emails, this is gonna be something through Tyler, it's their own system, right, their own
It's
software,
Tyler, so yeah.
so it's not a third party over here doing credit cards, no, it's
So
all
Jordan
Tyler.
said that in the email here, he said that he was gonna try to come down by before the end of next month and go through everything.
One-stop shop now.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be third party. I was asking him what the fees were gonna be, if anything was gonna change and how that was all gonna go. But and the prices exactly, David, were $419 for the lane 300 mile and 14, or 529 for the lane 5,000. With a $15 annual
So we
fee.
need 4 or maybe 5 of the machines.
We have 4, Paula really wanted her desk. So she didn't have to get up if she was on call to take a function of that.
Awesome. Cool. All right, last one. Josie, City Secretary.
Yes.
We collected a little over $12,500 last month. in current taxes. That was about, close to 6,000 less than last March. The total at the end of March was 677,581.65, which is 88.34% of what we budgeted, and a little over 37,200 less than last March. Now, remember, our tax rate went down, so our taxes were less this month, or this year. Delinquent taxes, a little over $950 collected. That was about close to $60 less than last March. Fiscal year total at the end of March was a little over $5,600, which is almost 47% of what we budgeted, and about $1,863 less than last March. The hot tax, almost 16,400 collected in March, but close to $9,400 of that was for, that should have been collected in the month before. Or 8,600 was, that was for February, so we got 2 months in one month. The March amount was about $750 more than last March. The fiscal year total at the end of March, a little over $54,260. It's a little over 16.25%, and we're about 14,700 more than last March.
And just council, just so you know, Best Western has been doing an outstanding job helping us out. As you know, we've had some families that lost their home around the area. They would really come through and along with the help of the American Red Cross in there. So if you guys stop over there, please pass their kudos to Flex to be able to take care of folks and kind of make it reasonable. Take care. There's a suite, by the way, there's a suite that is called Lidl Suite. There's a Lidl Suite up there. They can fit six people sleeping comfortably.
2 nice bedrooms and
All that, it has a kitchen and everything on it. It's really nice. It's really nice. Good job. Sorry, Joe. Thank you.
Franchise tax, people only gave a little over $400. That was from AEPCPNL. That was 473 less than a year ago. That doesn't make sense at all. So I must not finish that one. Franchise tax at the end of March total 85,258. That's a little over 50% of what we budgeted, and a little over $1,400 more than a year ago at the same time. Sales tax. These were doing really good in this. We received $125,402 of sales tax in March. That was almost $23,000 more than last March. The fiscal year total at the end of March, $762,833.90. That's 51.54% of what we budgeted, and $94,857.12 more than March 2021. We received $111,509.53 in sales tax for the month of February, and I did not know doing this on the day, and I don't know why I did that, if that wasn't so. Yeah, it should have been this month. That's about 19,962 more than last April's allocation. Fiscal year total now, 874,343.43, 59% of what we budgeted, and almost 115,000 over last April. So whatever amendments we've got coming in the general fund, the sales tax has been more than annual. 42.42 acre feet of water from the Edwards in March, and that was not even an acre foot less than last March. The calendar year total at the end of March is 112.71. That's 11.76 acre feet less than last year's March total. In case you didn't know, we're in stage 2 already, 30% reduction. If we get some rain, maybe we can go back to stage 1, about, I think, 15 feet from stage 1. We already about 10 acre feet over last year's April amount,
And, over 3 acre-feet of that is the water going to Rosewood Estates. Wayne got everything ready for the start of baseball season, with the dugouts, fencing, everything that needed repairs. We never got a list from the Little League, but they were happy with everything that he did. And we got a lot of compliments on the work that he did, as well as compliments for him helping them on opening day. Water well, we're hearing everything's going according to schedule. If all goes well, we should have our well online by this summer. Am I right, Mayor?
In the May.
Early voting started today. At last I heard, it was probably about 2 hours before closing time, they already had 40 voters. So that was good for opening day. Since the city's holding its own election, both early voting and election day voting are being held at the city hall. The election has required a lot of extra hours to do the sudden change. Easter event, we had our Easter egg hunt on the Saturday before Easter, and the turnout was about half of what it normally was. I don't know if people were still afraid of COVID. I do know that other cities had egg hunts going on at the same time too. So I know a lot of people from Divine weren't here this year because they were having one. So
They had it at night.
and I think it started at 6, right? So I guess they waited for that, but because we didn't have a lot of people from Divine. We had Easter Bunny there, we had Little Caesar, the HCP Buddy, so all in all, a fun event. We're re-advertising for the part-time court clerk position. A deadline for these applications is May 6th. The first set of applications that we got, she'd gone through, and she even went through some of the applications I got for the position we just filled tonight. She made a few calls on that, but didn't work out, so we're at re-advertising. Okay, on the project list, I got it started, be completed when I get more time, to send you the calendar. The audit for this 2021, we worked on items, and auditors were here the first part of April, and hopefully we'll be presenting the audit at the next regular meeting. Moving records, we'll start on that as soon as we get some time, get this election over and stuff. Budget amendments, I had a chance to go over on that to work on budget amendments yet. There will be some intergovernmental agreement with Atascosa County was sent back to the county mayor after you and I talked. She sent it to me, and there was some changes that they had not made on that. They're being made, and we'll get it back. Just a couple of.
It's for the generators.
Yes. Recycling still averaging around 9 customers. We'll have 14 one day, and then the next time you'll have less than that, but it's averaging about 9 customers each time, and we're still staying to the 1 roll-off per month, so we're not being out any for recycling, since we're staying to that 1 roll-off.
So Josie, one of the things that we talked about this weekend was when we schedule our next bulk pickup, or dumpster like we did, is try to schedule it on Saturday when we have recycling. So people can actually go over and drop off. If they show up and they got a bunch of cardboard, we can tell them, hey, drop this in the dumpster, and then take all the cardboard and go drop it off over at the.
Oh, okay, so you wanna, the next time we do our bulky waste, like you did this last Saturday, you wanna do it on a recycling day?
Right.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
That's correct.
that makes sense.
Yep, that'll help.
Miscellaneous, worked on the program for the unveiling of the Rudy's Foster Way signs. And given several compliments, especially the families of the coaches that were really complimentary about the program. Animal Control Director asked me to re-advertise for the part-time tech. The 2 applicants that he had did not work out. The deadline for these applications is May the 6th as well. Things around the office have been really hectic, trying to get ready for the unveiling ceremony, get ready for the Easter event, and then the election. We also were
short-staffed. Hopefully, next month, we can get back to full staff. Now that we have that resignation, I'll probably be on the next agenda to ask to re-advertise for that. And then, I'll be working with quarterly reports on Lynette. She still hasn't had a chance to learn how to do those. And, we also had auditors here the first part of the month that took up some of my time. And I think that's it. Unless y'all have any questions.
Council? Alright. Okay.
Oh, did I answer? I have the notes here, but I didn't get. As James said something about the smart meters earlier, we're supposed to be setting up the training for the smart meters with office staff in June. Also, since the mayor and I last talked, we had vandalism at the park that we got fixed. That same week that that was being fixed, before that was being fixed, we had the other one knocked over. After that other one was fixed, a couple of days later, that was vandalized again. I'm just about to tell them, you know what, we'll get portables if y'all are gonna keep tearing these up, you know? It's ridiculous. This isn't cheap to fix up, but we got 2 more to fix up now
So they're gonna train for the smart meters.
in June.
Hopefully the smart meters won't be smarter than them.
Do we lock the bathrooms out
The
there?
bathrooms are locked, usually at sundown. And, they're open up at sunrise.
What's being broken, toilets, your?
The partitions is what they're doing right
Oh,
now. Yeah.
But,
And-
because of the Little League.
The one thing that we're noticing is it's happening when there is no practice or games
And
going
there's
on.
no Little League out there.
And there's hardly any people in the park when it's happening. And it's happening probably between 3:30 and 7 at night. It's the last time that our first season was at 3:30, and then when he comes back to close up, lo and behold, damage has been done. But they've really done a number on our restrooms over there.
Anything else?
That's
Okay. And well, on that one, I know you're working with PD, right? Is there anything that we're doing or?
We need to get a camera over there, get it installed.
The camera system that's over there is not of good enough quality to get what we need. And try to look at these kids, okay, I recognize that kid, I know, let me take this picture of the school. It's probably high school or, junior high kids. What we have is off the shelf system, and it's just not a good enough quality.
And I will tell you, our budget for the park this year looks terrible because of vandalism and fixing stuff. Plus, we had, those lights that we fixed, that we got LEDs, that was over $4,500. We're definitely gonna have to have an amendment there. Plus, our, rates for maintaining the parks went up with the new contract, so, that lineup's gonna have to be amended.
But when they redid the park, had they followed my suggestion,
About going with a whole new
well, going with
restroom.
vandal-proof stuff. You've all been in parks, these roadside parks on the interstate, they're designed so they can't be vandalized. But we saved some money, and now we're,
Well, actually, we did very little to the restroom. If,
that's what I'm saying, though. We could have, we had that opportunity and nobody wanted to.
actually, we made them ADA compliant, and that cut down on the number of stalls.
Yeah.
And we're going backwards. Here we're growing, and we're cutting back number of stalls, you
That's the
know?
issue, before we spend a bunch of
How much
money
does
in
it
there.
cost when you have repaired last time?
Upwards of $500 each
So
time.
so if you rent a porta potty, that's $100 a month?
Yeah, probably in the neighborhood of that. I don't know, we may have to consider something if this keeps going on.
It might be good to come up with options for the council to consider, but I mean, if you have a designated time that it's happening and we know when it is.
Yeah, I think.
Well,
we
I'm
just
not
need to get
100% sure that we've determined that on our side. They know that, they haven't let us, I haven't been let in on that information.
Well, in talking with Wayne, he knows that when he leaves, it's around 3:30, and then when he comes back, it's around 7-ish. So it's in that time span right there.
Maybe we can work with Wayne, I don't know if he,
Yeah, Wayne-
what time does he leave for the day?
He leaves at 3:30.
Oh, I don't know if he left that early.
Yeah, well, he comes in early.
Should've got
too.
his job.
Well, yeah, you gotta be at work at 7.
I'm at 6 hours.
So, that's the issue. Now, I've seen what I thought would really work better if you know, you've seen those trailers that got men's and women's restrooms, but they're designed as portable toilets, but they're a little nicer, you know, you pull the trailer in there and it's ADA compliant and everything. I say, those are, but again, anything you do, any major future park improvements, we need to try to prevent crime through the design, which has been, proven to work, but it's expensive, and that's, and even catching these people, which it doesn't fix, it's not gonna fix.
Just think about it and see if there's something the council to consider. If we need to do something. Okay. Anything else for Josie? All right. Thank you, Josie. Number 7, informational items. Any items, anything somebody wants to share? I have some, but I just include them in the mayor's report. Anything? Nothing? Okay, mayor's report, textile frontage roads on there. I know we shared some information about the closures of 3175. We got delayed by a day. Sometime this week, they'll actually go ahead and start working on the northbound side, which will be the site that the Best Western is. It's gonna be about 2 months, approximately 2 months. That's gonna be just a one-way, as they actually work on that. Until they get done with the drainage or the portion that they need to do on that, then they'll start on the other. So the one on the Bill Miller side is gonna go ahead and stay 2 ways. Okay? So that's as they work on there. Passed on, and just for your awareness, and pass it down on here. This is a building code report that was sent to us for us to go ahead and complete. Pass it on to Josie, for us to get Mr. Martin. This happens every 5 years, that it needs to be done, so it's a pretty detailed in the things that need to be taken care of. So this is a report that we'll need to go ahead and take care of. We'll bring it back to the council at a later point, but it needs to be submitted on our behalf.
It'll be several of us working on it, not just Mr. Martin. We're gonna give the first crack at it, but, we'll have to get the fire department involved and.
That's the,
James.
That's for commercial.
yeah, it's across the board. That's the copy that you have in front of you is the last one we submitted. So you'll notice some stuff is darkened. So they'll just review that portion of it, but it's in the queue for us to get it complete and be able to take care of it.
And this is the back.
This is through the state. So it's an effective grading schedule, so it's for our building. This is where they look at the schedule. Remember, we just adopted the new schedule based on building code. So they'll use those as a way to look at it. Some of the conversations that we had in here was about waste management and how they're picking up, just so you know. They've actually had some problems with their gas powered trucks that they use, propane, related. So they've actually been using a lot more of the old trucks, which means instead of having the arm that picks up the trash, they got the guys walking out of the back and they come in from the back and pick them up, still in the side, throw them in there. So it's taking them longer. When they do that, it takes them longer. So you see them picking up trash later into Thursday, maybe into Friday morning, depending. Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is please pass on the word, have them out there early because they are starting earlier. Once they get the trucks back, it should be okay, but right now they're doing that. Josie brought up about the water well update. We should be, as far as we know, we got everything still on schedule. They're working good. Anything else come up, James, with water well? So,
Everything.
yeah, so everything should be good, and Scott is full on it, the new engineer, so it should be good. Email accounts, they've been working out good. We still have a few that are getting hiccups, but we should have everybody up and running here pretty soon with using the vitalts.org, to include the ones on the website that said they were going to pass on the information and the login that goes with that.
Do want to remind council, if any of you are actually interested, TML Small Town Development Conference is 19th to the 20th of May. So please, if you're interested, it's going to be $220 for the registration plus hotel and expenses, but it's a good opportunity because it covers a wide range of topics on there. Emergency management conferences coming around in May and in June timeframe. So there'll be opportunities for the emergency management team to actually go through some of these here in the near future too. Might have some folks going. Tomorrow we have a veteran who's actually leaving in the morning, Brandon Hunt, going for 400 days. So just want to put out information. VFW's got the lead on that. If you want to join us, it's going to be at the True Value for the hardware store. South Hardware. Yeah. So we're going to be right here. It's at 7:30 in the morning. Didn't announce where it's going. Deployed 400 days. So it's a year long. Usually the Army does that. Some Air Force do, and other services don't say where. But, yeah. So, but if you want to join us, 7:30 in the morning on there. Great news that we got this weekend. We got a Chick-fil-A food truck that is going to be coming into town. They went out and talked to different business owners in the Southwest District of the U.S., and 3 of them got selected. One of them is from San Antonio. So he's going to work out with us, and he's going to bring a truck out here. It's going to be on a weekly basis, and depending on the sales, we'll be able to do that. There's been some questions on how much it is going to be fresh or everything. Everything is on there. It's a state-of-the-art machine. The old machine, they would bring the sandwiches already pre-made and just make the fries and a few other things. This truck supposedly has everything. All those was able to do like 85% of the meals for the menu that they have. So it's pretty neat. More to come. I'll get the fire marshals involved too whenever that happens. But the truck's supposed to show up in San Antonio in the middle of May. They'll go through their process and the training, and it'll probably be sometime in June before. More details to come if that happens. Birthdays. Tom's was on the 23rd. So if you can get a chance to say happy birthday, please spend, a little celebration for Tom.
Neighbor didn't even bring you a gift? Just across the street, Tom.
Not even a pie?
Not even pie, no cake. I know your birthday. Luke knew about it.
No, I didn't know.
Like, leave me out of this.
Okay, special thanks once again for Josie, taking the lead on the Easter event. I think it worked really good. Public Works, thank you for helping out there. From the setup to, they were escorting the kids into the baseball fields and trying to do crowd control out there doing that. City staff too out there helping out. PD, we appreciate it, being able to be out there. Special thanks, I know he was there, Chris, but Dave also with a dumpster. Cleanup. We had 4 dumpsters. We went up 1 more, and we had 3.5 that got filled with stuff. So I think it was very successful, being able to get a lot of stuff. Actually, it was unique. I had it out here. Lady drove by and noticed some chairs and said, "Hey, you gonna throw those away?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Can I take them?" So she took them out of the dumpster. Went away with them. So so it worked out. Last thing I have for you, I'll just pass them down this way. There might be some extras on there. So I just want to pass on, talk to Lori. I'm passing out the addresses again for Wayne. If you haven't reached out to him, please reach out to him. Health-wise, he's doing better. He's still in the recovery portion of it. He goes through his ups and downs. So he's had one of those downs lately just because of the frustration in his recovery. He still has some physical challenges. So please, whether hard, anything, he's still limited in being able to speak, but be able to kind of highlight him, that would be a good thing to go ahead and do. But you can tell that he is getting back to normal. Lori was telling me that she was driving, had him in the seat, and he was telling her where to drive, where to turn, everything. So
That's good.
So that's a good size, the way to get back into what it is. So if you have a chance, please pass on the prayers on that. Need to encourage everybody. go out there and vote. Important time and opportunity. We do have some folks, in a sense that we appreciate their service and we'll be able to highlight on the next meeting that goes along with that. But please encourage our citizens to actually show up and vote. Please let them know it's not only the local election, but also the state. We have some constitutional amendments that deal with property taxes. So in their designated areas, whether it's in JP's office, or maybe Devine or Castroville, or maybe in Barrington, please make sure that people actually show up and take care of it. Is there any last minute, anything else that we need to go ahead and pass on to anybody? Okay, so it is 9:39 right now. Can I have a motion for us to go ahead?
I'm moving to adjourn this meeting.
Got a motion? Got a second? All those in favor? Any opposed?